peaceful, happy, secure, safe Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Now it's time to get back to work, at least until we have Christmas again. So that's the best part about this is you can't get too depressed because right around the corner, heck, December the 10th, we got Hanukkah. Then we got Christmas. Then we got New Year's. And we got vaccines.
And then we get to say goodbye to 2020.
We do. We get to say goodbye to this year and hello to vaccines. At least that is what I am hoping for because the numbers on COVID are not so good today. And the forecasts in Shelby County for hospitalizations aren't so good. We'll get into that a little bit later. We got Memphis football to talk about. How about defense? Winning a game and weirdness of being in Navy, in Annapolis, at Navy and Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, and like they had, I think we counted exactly, 50 cadets. The great thing about going to the military schools, and the great thing I think about having Navy in is the pomp and circumstance and everything you get with it, and you understand the history of our country, and I mean, they do so many cool things. Nobody, 50. That was all 50 cadets jumping up and down. That sure seemed weird. But the Tigers end up winning a game. So everything that they had as preseason goals still there. Memphis basketball, well, we got a lot to talk about with that. They need to figure out offense. They need to find a point guard that is willing to sacrifice scoring.
3 games in, people.
Orchestrating. It is 3 games in.
RELAX.
It is 3 games in. The Egg Bowl that you were at, Brett Norsworthy, what a great game.
Dave, man, I was not RELAX at all.
No. But you know what? You love a game, unless you're a fan of a particular team, but if you love the game itself. And the Egg Bowl is a game I have come to love watching. And this was a game that comes down to the last possession. A heave
ball
in the
there
end
when
zone.
the horn went off.
Absolutely. You can't ask for anything better than that. And here's the other thing I liked about the Egg Bowl. I've always loved the rivalry. I love that it means so much on both sides. I did not like the incredible hostility that it had. And I thought this game, wonderful, exciting, but respected on both sides, and that comes from both coaches. They really do like each other.
Not a personal foul in the entire game.
How about
side.
That is something, and that's a
no
part I really liked about the Egg Bowl was that ridiculous hostility, and maybe that comes from Mullen. There
was a lot of people that contributed.
Well, it was that was really tough. We got NFL we'll talk about a little bit, and today there is some news. The San Francisco 49ers have agreed with the NFL to allow them to
They're the
host.
Phoenix Niners now.
Yep, the weeks 13 and 14, they will be in Phoenix. But here's the one good part about all that. No cancellations. By the way, San Jose State and Stanford all have to figure out what they're going to do in this stretch because they can't practice at home with Santa Clara's new county regulations, and they can't play games. So they're going to
basketball included, and Dave, that will impact later in the month the season start for the Golden State Warriors because you have to think that the NBA, they want Golden State on those Christmas Day games, whether it's at home or no. But it's going to impact that. It will impact Santa Clara for college basketball. San Francisco, the Dons, they had a big win over these holidays, a lot of college basketball. Dave, I know we're off to somewhat of a rocky and rollicking start in college basketball, but I'm going to say it when we talk to David Cobb about it from CBS and we talk to Blake Lovell about it from Blue Ribbon Magazine about it. I've loved that it's been there. It has been almost the closest thing to the word that maybe could have contended for word of 2020, normalcy, normality. Since Wednesday, I've loved that it's been there. I don't know that I've been in thrall with all the play in every single game, but I've seen some good play. There was a really good game on earlier today between Davidson and Texas, and kind of had Bill Walton in our lap from 11 o'clock on today. He has already ripped off 2 great lines today. They had a very controversial replay at the end of the Texas-Davidson game, and it was really hard to tell who touched it. And his play-by-play guy, Jason Benetti, threw it to him and said, well, Bill, what do you think? He goes, hell, Jason, I'm sitting in Santa Monica, California. I can't see it.
Well, he's right.
And he had another good line during the first half of the Indiana and Providence game. Two good coaches in that one, too. Two great coaches, I thought, in the first game, McKillop and Shaka. Now in this one, Cooley and Younger Miller. But he had another good line of player for Indiana, I think, from Largo, Maryland. And seriously, he goes, Largo, Maryland, not to be confused with Fargo, North Dakota, two quite distinct different cities and a different spelling, L in one, F in the other one. They rhyme, but that's what makes our language unique.
That is what makes him unique, is that he would come up with that and that we would enjoy that. But we do. And
I do. I know a lot don't, but I do.
I do too.
I love him. And March 26, 1973, after he had gone 21 of 22, and Larry Finch had to help him off the court with a sprained ankle, I didn't think I'd ever say I love Bill Walton.
No, he is different. He is special. There's no question on a lot of different fronts. I really like him with Dave Pasch. That is for sure. That is quite the combination right there.
That's the A-team with Walton.
Yeah.
I think that's his preferred play-by-play guy, too.
The University of Memphis is going back to the drawing board. Fortunately, they now have 3 games in a row where they should figure out how to get their offense going. So they will play Wednesday night at home against Arkansas State. They will then play Friday night against Central Arkansas, and the following Tuesday night against Mississippi Valley State. By the way, I understand they're going to have about 3,500 folks or somewhere in that neighborhood in FedEx Forum. And I'll try to get Laird Veach on at some point this week, maybe to talk a little bit about that if we can, about how they're going to make arrangements and the amount of people they're going to let in. But it's pretty clear. And I don't quite understand this, so I will throw this out to you and to Drew. Why do you think it is, if this is the case, that you can learn how to play a sophisticated yet very efficient defensive system? Last year, the University of Memphis led the country in field goal percentage defense. Now, Precious was a part of that in the beginning. Wiseman was a part of that. But for the most part, a bunch of the same people are here. They've still played pretty good defense in these first 3 games. But they struggled offensively a bit last year. They sort of got it maybe a little bit better toward the end. They could play a high post game with Precious because he could move the ball back out. He could pass, and he could, at the end of the year, he had some decent skills inside with which to score. They don't have that luxury at this point with Moussa Cisse, and the way, I hate to say it, but Malcolm Dandridge is playing, that is not working because Malcolm clearly is not the same guy that he was in high school, and I have to attribute that to injury issues. Penny said he's got a problem with tendinitis, not in the surgically repaired knee. So he's got one knee still not 100%. The other knee's got tendinitis. He clearly does not have the skills we saw that he had when he was at East. But why is it, do you think, that Memphis cannot figure out how to run the offense and yet can run sophisticated defenses?
Well, I think there is a leadership point guard deficit right now, but I do think there's enough there for something more than adequate to really good to emerge. Again, 3 games in, I watched or kept up with or listened to or tried to keep up with all 3 games. I know exactly what happened. I saw everything what everybody else saw. I saw the standing around on offense. I saw the lack of movement. I saw the lack of a real maestro out at the top of the key at the point guard position. It's how critical it is. I think on defense, Dave, the basic answer to that is that's kind of all you. But on offense, it's got to all be together. It's got to be a symphony. It's got to work together, and you have to have that conductor. You have to have that leader out front, and right now that person hadn't emerged. Those other teams exploited it. Dave, I go back to the win against St. Mary's. Thank goodness for that great defense in St. Mary's not being able to buy a 3, or that would have been a lot closer. And the unthinkable could have happened in the Chernobyl of college basketball. It could have been 0 for 3 up there if the defense wasn't there for St. Mary's. And then the other 2 games, I thought Western Kentucky's post player just really abused the Tiger defense. And then Virginia Common, they were able to hit a lot of shots and play well, and the offense was really lagging in that game, and a 1-2. But I'm going to say this: when we turn the corner into 2021, if they play all these games that are scheduled, the Tigers will be 8-2 when we start 2021.
I'd have to look. I don't have that in my hand, and I haven't really gone over it.
I got it.
I will say
Arkansas
this to you.
State, Central Arkansas, Mississippi Valley State, Auburn, Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida.
They should be. They should be. I will tell you that your point is well taken about defense with effort, maybe, but it's not just individual. You have to. There are times that you have to make switches. There are times that you send a man out on a double. Memphis was really good at doing that. Now, to play zone defense, you have to be able to communicate and act as a unit. And, I thought, and I was surprised, they did not go to a zone when they were getting exploited inside by Bassie in the Western Kentucky game. Drew, I know you had a thought on offense, defense, and what you think is the struggles here.
I think on the offensive side, there's just not enough movement. Like Brett said, too much standing around, not creating enough shots, not creating open space on the offensive side of the ball has just been the biggest thing to stand out to me. Just not seeing that everybody is trying to contribute on every possession. I mean, even if you're not going to get the ball, there's still things that you can do that can create a shot for somebody else, and I'm just not seeing it.
Well, I just wish there was ball movement. I don't understand. I would think this is the 3rd year for Alo, and I don't want to pick on Alo because I think he's a tremendous young man, and I've seen moments where the dude really can play the game, but I don't understand when it's you now know in your 3rd year you're not at this level a scorer. Take the opportunity that you're getting to be the starter, if you still are at the next game, and distribute the ball. Become a guy who starts the offense and in the middle get it back and then makes the extra pass. We used to
facilitator.
We used to do a drill in high school where you could not even shoot the ball till after there were 7 passes, and that means there was going to be at least 3 swings of the ball to the other side.
And then who took the peach basket down?
Well, I don't think it goes quite that far, but it's close.
Okay,
but my point is this:
mean,
you've got to throw the ball more than 2 or 3 times. There were times early that Memphis would force a shot with 15 seconds left on the shot clock. That makes no sense to me. And
kind of heaves.
And just move the ball to the extra side 2 or 3 more times, and you will find open shots. Now, they just missed some in that game, honestly, on Friday night, where they had a wide open look early in the game where things might have changed, and it just didn't happen. But it's a wake up call for Penny. It's a wake up call for this team. The one thing that's been pointed out is these are a lot of the same issues on offense that we saw at the end of last year. So can it be fixed? And I think it can. I really do. But we've got to see it now because clearly you have got to play more as a team offensively than they did when they were in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
For sure. So you're watching all these games like I've been watching all day today, and you see another ad for FanDuel Sportsbook, and you think to yourself, is that legal here in Tennessee? You bet it is. FanDuel Sportsbook now legal in Tennessee. Got the big Monday night football game tonight. All this college basketball. NBA coming soon. FanDuel and TNT with a unique partnership in sports. You saw it at the NBA bubble. You can place your first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free and get up to $1,000 back if you don't win. Seriously, there's no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep your cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in bonus site credit so you can take another shot at the end zone. Own the house tonight. You could use that risk-free bet on Monday Night Football. Either side, home team Eagles or the visiting coming across the country, Seattle Seahawks. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, generous risk-free bets, they're just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, and exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. And once you win on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Easy to register, fast withdrawals, range of betting options, player props, futures. Find whatever bet you're looking for. They have heaps of options to claim your risk-free bet. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details for problem gambling sport. Call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis. Happy holidays. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and into the December to remember at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Your one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Put one of those big ribbons around a car for someone special coming up on Christmas morning. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering that golden opportunity sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models that remain and the 2021s that are rolling in, and always special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving replete in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, this one just coming in, it comes compliments of Adam Schefter. The Ravens players still have not been given any guidance on when or if the team will be leaving for Pittsburgh. So chances of postponement for Tuesday night's game now increasing by the hour. Good news, though, the U of M had two American Athletic Conference Players of the Week. Quindell Johnson, who had 15 tackles and a huge interception that probably ended up winning the game, if you want to know the truth. Quindell Johnson and that defense were spectacular, so he was named the AAC Defensive Player of the Week. And Riley Patterson, thanks to a 26-yard field goal, ends up becoming the AAC Special Teams Player of the Week. This has not been a great year for Riley, so I'm glad he got some recognition here. And Brett, maybe that'll give him a little bit more confidence. He was brilliant long range last year, and he's really struggled. And he's not missing them in terms of shortness. He seems to be missing wide right a bunch on kicks with incredible distance, but he just seems to push them.
But a big kick he knocked through Saturday night. Dave, when did the magic moment, when did you feel like you had him Saturday night?
When I started to do the math on how much time they would have left in the game. Because really, the key was they got a big first down that was able to. I said, well, if they don't get another first down, Navy will be down to about somewhere around 14 seconds or so before they get the ball back. And if Memphis can back them up, they'll be in good shape. They should win the game. That was about it. I mean, really and truly, with about a minute and a half left, you had the sense because of math you could win the game.
That looks like forever compared to when I had the magic moment hit me. My top story, first win for the Tigers at Navy ever. 2 losses in Sioux Falls. I hear almost the equal amount of carping and complaining, some would call it passion, about both trips. The one to Sioux Falls for men's basketball and the one to Annapolis for football. No way they're the same thing. Any team that can play Central Florida and play their game, play the Central Florida bag and win 50-49, and then play the Navy's game and win 10-7, I think you're a good team to do that. They're not close to equal. Do not complain about that football win. I've never seen an ugly bride, an ugly baby, or an ugly win.
I have no idea why anybody would be disappointed. You could say, based on what we saw, you're going to have a little trouble on the road in New Orleans. I might understand somebody saying that, but to be unhappy with the W, let me just tell you what that ugly win just produced. It ensured a 7th consecutive winning season. And do you realize that that is the first time in the history of the University of Memphis football program that they have had 7 consecutive winning seasons? To pull that off, and if anybody's disappointed, they need to go right into therapy as soon as possible.
Not top story of the day.
Well, that's the COVID numbers, and we just mentioned now. Don't know if the Ravens and Steelers game will get played. Also, just the numbers in Shelby County starting to get scary. 283 new, 2 new deaths, 3,100 tests at 9%. Worst part is 450 cases in the hospital, still at 90%. That's the good news, but they are predicting over 500 cases by Christmas if this trend continues, and they think it will, particularly since we'll see if there's a spike from all the families that got together in the holiday weekend. Tennessee had 366,000 cases, several thousand new, 4,500 who have passed, 153,000 in Mississippi, and they've had 1,500 new cases. They continue to spike. 3,800 who have passed. Arkansas, 156,000 cases with 2,500 fatalities. We're closing in on 14 million cases in the United States. When I looked at noon, 300,000 new, which means we're going to be over 500,000 new cases in this day. 273,000 who have passed, and we have now gotten close to 200 million tests. So we're closing in on 2/3 of the country being tested. In the world today, 63 1/3 million cases, 1.5 million who have died, 18.5 million active, and we have 183 vaccines in the works now. So they've added another new vaccine.
My not top story, no stuff this year around the Egg Bowl, just ball. Spirited competition, very hard competed, and Will Rogers and Matt Corral put on a show Saturday night. Will Rogers with the most yards passing by any quarterback in the history of the Egg Bowl. Matt Corral with the second most. It was just football. Neither one of those quarterbacks threw interception either with all those passing attempts. Just football. Both coaches and both ADs wanted that. It got turned down. The temperature got turned down on it. I know no crowd there probably contributed to some of that as well. But remember, Greg Sankey called both ADs and both chancellors into his office last year after everything that occurred down in Starkville, and he said, cut it out. And for 1 year, it was cut out.
Yeah. Will Rogers, that's a heck of a story. Costello was the big story coming into the year. What has happened to the transfer quarterback?
Well, he got hurt, and then I think he was beat out.
Yeah.
I think Will Rogers is clearly the future, just a freshman from Brandon. His sister went to Ole Miss, and he great high school player, and he had a terrific game Saturday night, and Ole Miss was really fortunate to hang on to that game. It felt like when the ball was in the air, they were going to hit that pass, Pirate would swing that sword and walk out of there 32-31 winner.
Wow. Huh. I wonder how many felt that way. Anyway, I think as long as these two coaches stay there, this is going to be a heck of a series, and a heck of the rivalry will just continue to be enhanced. And the Will Rogers thing, that looks like a marriage for Mike Leach. Hope that thing works out. Let me correct myself, by the way. In the United States today, 30,000 new, and I checked, not 300, 30,000 new cases. So it'll be at least 50,000 by now. As we continue to spike in that regard. That is the top and the not top stories. As mentioned, we got medals coming your way in a minute. We've got David Cobb at 4 o'clock. We've got more discussion on Tiger football and the weekend review of SEC and AAC play. The Winners of the weekend in college and NFL and the overreactions that'll come your way. About 4:45, Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine on college basketball at 5. At 5:30, we'll make our picks on Monday Night Football, and then we'll give you the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks for Philadelphia and Seattle. We'll end the day with crunch time at about 5:50. We are officially underway on a chilly Monday. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
At Lowe's, we appreciate all the hard work our pros have done this year. To say thanks, we have deals on the products you want and credit programs that work just for pros. We're offering everyday 5% savings on eligible purchases. Plus, through March 31st, 2021, 60 days promotional financing on your Lowe's business account or extended terms on eligible account receivables. Learn more in store or online at lowesforpros.com. You'll see why we're the new home for pros. Subject to credit approval, terms apply, U.S. only.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stacks. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
It was clearly a busy weekend. We got medals all over the place. They come your way in a second. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and a reminder, the Holidays at Home sale continues where there are spas and even more spas. They're all in stock. They got hundreds more on order. They really want to make this past month, this November, and all the way to the holidays really special for you. Also pool tables, game tables, arcades. That'll really enhance that close family, little kinship, little friendly competition, of course. There's a massage chair for after the big meal. Really good prices on the Holidays at Home sale. Also, a reminder, buy pools now. Save on the 2021 price increase. And you get early scheduling. They'll get you the first in to be the ones installed. So you get that special price and the wonderful commitment of an early scheduling. Can't beat that. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road. Family and fun coming together for the holidays during the Holidays at Home sale at Family Leisure. It is time for some precious metals. I got a bunch. I'm going to start off. I've got to start off with my guy. I'm still in mourning, years after the fact. But I'm giving a gold medal to Robbie Gold, a bronze medal to Robbie Gold. Because what did he do? The 37-year-old hit another winning field goal for the San Francisco 49ers, who put a little dagger in the heart of the Rams. How about that? The Bears gave up on that guy 5 years ago because he was too old. Is that not amazing? He's only 37, for goodness sake.
And at the buzzer came through to avoid overtime and for them to really do some damage to the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to give the Tiger defense a bronze medal. They won the game. There is no question. Without figuring out that triple option, they win the game. And I gave this note, I think, on this airwaves. I know it did during the broadcast. The last time Navy was shut out at home was 2012. The head coach of the team in 2012 was Mike McIntyre of San Jose State. What did he do this time? Where Memphis has always struggled with stopping that option, he nailed it again. They used more defensive players than they ever had. They had linebackers coming up and playing defensive ends on a 5-man front, and they held Navy to 7 points, and they wouldn't have gotten those 7 if they didn't have a fake punt that got them 45 yards and put them in good field position. That defense.
Now Coach Mack's name prominently involved in the Vanderbilt opening. Of course, his dad was coach there for 6 years. He played there, and he's been a 2-time successful head coach, San Jose State Coach of the Year in the Pac-12 when he was at Colorado.
Right.
I think that would make a lot of sense for Vanderbilt.
Well, you know what? You know why it makes a lot of sense for him? Is I'm not sure you can win at Vanderbilt, but he has family in Nashville. That's part of the reason why he came to Memphis. And if they decide to replace Derek Mason with Mike McIntyre, it would be a great hire for Vandy. It would be a loss for Memphis, but a great hire, and I think he would take it because he has family that lives there. I will give a silver medal to Alabama. Alabama was unanimously picked number 1 this week. They deserve it. And you know what? They have now been in the polls for 209 consecutive weeks. Penn State had a run of 211. That's the second highest. That is the next one in their sights, and they're going to get that for sure. Alabama, unanimous number 1. They win over their arch rival in the Iron Bowl and cover a big line against Auburn without Nick Saban. Are you kidding me? Silver medal. Derrick Henry, 178 yards and 3 touchdowns, and that was against the the Indy Colt defense, which is a pretty good defense. Wow. That was impressive to me. And then my gold medal, I'm only giving 1, and it goes to Vanderbilt and Sarah Fuller, the first woman ever to play major college football. She delivered on that one kick, did a great job, and she made history. I give her a gold.
Yeah, they made history on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the exit of Derek Mason really kind of dominated the historic news, and now the opening at Vanderbilt and the Vanderbilt administration, they are going to have to decide in or out on football, in or out on big-time SEC football. I'm not talking about their stadium, but everything beneath the stadium level, it's got to be up there on the same par with Tennessee. Indoor workout, hot tubs, cold tubs, the whole function of the football, and not just remodeling the locker room and putting in new lockers. Vandy administration. They have to decide, and I think they have to quit saying we don't do that here. They've got to decide that yes, we do that here, or they're going to be changing coaches again, and it'll be unfair for anybody that takes this job.
But what makes you think that they would really make that change? Why do they have to care? Because they will get their fair share of the revenue, and they're comfortable in playing the role that they are, and they want to be known as a school that is high on academics and average on sports. That's just the way it is.
I don't think they need to yield 1 ounce on their academic standards, but Northwestern hadn't yielded. Stanford doesn't yield.
They sure haven't.
Georgia Tech doesn't yield. So I think Vanderbilt, and you're right. There's no evidence that they will change it, and we'll be in 3 or 4 or 5 years right back around to another good man devoured by that job. And they've had really one success story of any recent time with a head football coach, and that was James Franklin. And sadly, at the end, a lot went with that, and I think that really jaded that administration. They felt a little bit like they sold out. They didn't sell out. They just got a guy that I think handled a horrible case really bad. I only have one bronze medal, and it probably should be better than this for him. And he's not going to win the Heisman. I don't know if they're going to win the national championship, but in the preseason I said, keep an eye on Ian Book in Notre Dame. He's not that spectacular, but he's very, very consistent, and he just wins. All he does is beat you, one of those guys. 2 silver medals, first one to Richmond and to Bryant. Richmond won. They pulled the big upset over Kentucky. Bryant was the near upset big winner over Syracuse, but they didn't win. And there were other kind of off the beaten path college basketball names to win over the weekend, but both of those played the big boys, played Syracuse and Boeheim and played Calipari. And you got to bring your own motivation to this college basketball season.
Yeah,
and Kentucky and Syracuse didn't.
I don't understand what happens with Cal. You know, he came on, and as smooth as he was, after they had won a game early, that he owed his team an apology because they were about to play Murderer's Row, starting with Richmond. And I laughed. Because I said, oh, come on. Richmond, you're going to beat Richmond. You got Kansas after that. That'll be tough. But don't start with me with Richmond. And then, you know, here it is. Last year it was Evansville. There seems to be, and he gets them right when they have to, but there seems to be a trend here where early on Cal's teams get beaten, and I think we know why. It's because he starts over every year.
Another silver to the Dolphins. They win again, and to the Giants, and they lead the NFC East. Didn't many people have Dolphins and the Giants in playoff consideration, and they both are squarely there. A couple of goals for me, and I'll start with the 2-10 Texas State Bobcats. Yeah, Texas State. They finished 2-10, but with that small budget, very little interest around their football program. They play FBS. They're in the Sun Belt. I saw them last year in the 2019 season over at Arkansas State. But with that small budget and the cost for all their testing, they were still able to play 12 games this year. And for a lot of people that I don't think put in the same effort to play many games this year, they should look at Texas State and think, how could they do it and we couldn't? Another gold to the Bad Boy Mowers Crossover Classic. Almost 1,000 tests administered around that tournament and 0 positives, with everyone criticizing them for hosting the tournament. We'll find out more as the next few weeks play on if anybody really did or didn't get anything from there. But right now, with almost 1,000 tests, not a single positive. Gold goes to Notre Dame, Bama, and Clemson. They look like the 3 best teams in college football. I think they probably are, and I think all 3 are in the college football playoff, unless Clemson got swept by Notre Dame, regardless of what they do the rest of the year. Final gold goes to, mentioned earlier, Matt Corral and Will Rogers with the number 1 and number 2 all-time passing yards performances in Egg Bowl history. It will be fun in the Egg Bowl world the next few years. And Will Rogers and Matt Corral will be around for a lot of it. Both of them wearing uniform number 2, and both of them swinging for the fences. It wasn't a lot of screen passing either Saturday night. It was going downfield with the ball.
That's great. That's what you really love, for sure. I have 2 rusts. My first, to the embarrassment last night that the Chicago Bears were, and Mitch Trubisky. You know what? For a minute there, I thought he started to look like, okay, he's moving better. A lot of zip on those throws. He's not getting sacked. He's moving around. He's smart enough. He ran for a first down. The Bears' defense was the big problem last night. And Aaron Rodgers, they didn't punt the ball till the second half. I mean, he just mowed them down.
They were missing a big piece.
They were missing Akeem Hicks. You're going to tell me one guy's your whole defense? Come on. I'm not making that excuse.
I'm trying. I'm here for you.
Matt Nagy is part of the big problem there. But Mitch Trubisky.
Of course, big shoulders.
Mitch Trubisky had his chance to reclaim his position because Nick Foles couldn't do it. He could not. And I'm
Drew, for the crunch time, Luke,
I'm going to be.
You got to find Mike Tirico. I mean, it was almost on a continuous loop last night when he would go, "Ooh, ill-advised throw by Trubisky."
I just don't know what he's looking at. I mean, I think he's taking shots down the field just because that's part of the game plan. Doesn't matter if it's double or triple coverage. I mean, his judgment, it's just, it's sad. And my final Russ goes to the Tigers hoops offense. We went through this in the very first segment, but you've got to make more than 2 or 3 passes. You've got to swing the ball to the other side a couple of times. You got to have a point guard who's not going to take a spinning Baryshnikov move in the lane when there's 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Come on. Play offense like the detail, effort, specific strategy the way you do D. And I don't understand why they can't seem to get that together on O like they do on D.
Yeah, I'm with you on that Russ as well. It was not great in Sioux Falls by any means. The win was real fun, but the 2 losses were really bad. But the team is still very loaded, and it is very early, like it is for everyone. No excuses there. I've heard some suggest with practice time. Well, same practice time Western Kentucky and Virginia Common had, but it's still very early in the year, and this is when Coach Hardaway's had these moments in the first 2 years, and he always rallies the team. One more, Russ, for me. Anybody that's not ecstatic over that football win, I know we are more conditioned now to 50-49 being more fun, or 35-34, but 10-7 gets you the same W in the history books as 50-49 does. Well, that was a great win Saturday night. And when you can win in 2 different styles, you're pretty good.
Oh, and it's the first time you ever win in Annapolis.
Yeah.
And we made a big deal never winning in Annapolis. To be honest, that was a little overreactive because they'd only played 2 other times, and they frankly should have won the second time they played there.
But better teams both times.
That was Mike Norvell, who himself said on the post-game show after they lost in 18, he said, I sure wish I had those last few calls back. When he decided to pass, when he had Darrell Henderson running it down their throat and they couldn't stop him, they should have won that game. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But
you're going to love my NFL overreaction, speaking of Tigers running backs. I know it's now a long time ago, but that Thanksgiving Day performance by Antonio Gibson.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my.
How about when he waved goodbye to the guy? That's incredible. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell you this is the way life works. If Patrick Taylor doesn't get hurt, Antonio Gibson is not in the National Football League. The Tigers were moving him to tight end. They were going to move him to tight end. And then they didn't even use him correctly until the SMU game where they go, oh, wow, we need to run him. We need to make him a running back.
And some of the Tigers' offensive woes are that. Look at all those players put in the pros. And, oh, by the way, that guy named Gainwell was going to fill in just fine this year and be in good shape. It's the best time of year to head down to Olive Branch and head to All-Star Chevrolet and get that new All-Star Chevy Silverado or Tahoe or one of the perfect new Suburbans. Here's the deal. Everyone asked All-Star Chevy to get what everybody wants for the holidays, and they did it. They came through as the first Santa Claus of the holiday season. Seriously, these will go fast. Please come out to All-Star anytime this week if you can. All-Star Chevy with more new Silverados, 2020s, 2021s, lots of new third-row seating Traverse, and you can still get thousands in cash back. If you want pre-owned, Olive Branch and All-Star Chevrolet, that's the place to be. All-Star Chevy certified pre-owned Chevys are the best selection anywhere. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch at All-Star. Everyone at All-Star with one job. Make sure you have more fun, get the best deal on what you want, and do it in record time. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft, Goodman, and Olive Branch, or go online at allstarautogroup.com. Happy holidays to everyone out there, from the great people down at All-Star like Drew and like Scott, all Tiger fans, all big-time sports fans down at All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch.
We are back in a minute. We'll take a few of the First Bank text line messages to us and put a wrap on our number one. That is right around the corner.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas in stock and hundreds more on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The holidays at home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
When the idea of divorce becomes a reality, you need someone on your side. If you are a man in this situation, you should consider contacting Cordell & Cordell, who has helped men navigate complex family legal issues for 30 years. Visit us at CordellCordell.com to learn more.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Memphis attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. Office in Memphis, 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
So the SEC, following my lead with that gold medal, I must say, Brett, SEC has just made history by making Sarah Fuller the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week.
Historic on Saturday in Columbia for sure. With Vanderbilt, now a big decision ahead for them on which way and what direction football will go. And they still got some season left to play. She could appear in other games as well the rest of the year. I've heard Willie Fritz's name prominent around the Vanderbilt opening. Some are talking maybe Jeff Monken from the Army and him bringing a wishbone in there. I don't mind the wishbone offense, but not with Ken Seals. They've got a quarterback of the future in Ken Seals, freshman out of the state of Texas. Big arm, big-time quarterback. I'll say it, Cutler-esque type arm. And I would be hiring.
Has he got a better head than Cutler?
That was always debated about Jay Cutler, both in college and in the NFL. But he's taken a pounding this year, as I said after seeing him against Ole Miss. Yeah. It's vintage bad Vandy.
Well, you can't really blame the administration with some of the like the Ole Miss game where they were never in it. You have to go forward and make a move. And I thought Derek Mason was a
But you got to give somebody something to fight with.
Well, that I won't dispute that, but I do think they had to make some kind of a change. I feel bad for Derek Mason, but I think that they had to make that move. And to me, Mike McIntyre makes the most sense because there's a guy that really he would take it. He would come and do a good job because he has family there, and there would be legacy there. There's a lot of good reasons why you would go with him. On the First Bank text line at 67129, a person reminds me, I didn't say this, I mentioned the forecast that we are seeing from the Shelby County Health Department in terms of hospitalizations and a possible spike for the Christmas holiday. But also Methodist hospitals, and I think Baptists too, have now decided they would discontinue elective surgeries starting, I think, today. So we are taking steps backwards there. Another texter on the First Bank text line at 67129 says, ALO needs to watch films on Rajon Rondo, trying to emulate him. That's not a bad idea. I do think, for the most part, Rondo is a guy that if he's left wide open, he will shoot. And I think ALO is capable of doing that. But ALO does not try to create, or Rondo doesn't necessarily try, unless it's in transition, to create a shot on his own. He would rather set somebody else up. And that's the mentality, in my opinion, that ALO needs to have.
Well, it's just really hard at this point in the year for everyone, and in this crazy year, to have a team identity. It can still be forged. It can still be made for sure. A few do. If you hadn't watched Gonzaga, they are all of that for sure. They blasted Auburn Friday night. Auburn, what a tough assignment they had over the weekend. On Friday night in men's basketball, they played number 1 Gonzaga, and in football on Saturday played Alabama. It was the first time the same schools played number 1 in football and men's basketball in back-to-back days, either order, in the history of the sport.
Of the sports. Right?
Yeah, sports. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
In both of them.
Wow.
And Auburn.
I did not realize. That's incredible.
That is. Auburn, a lot like the Tigers. They've got a great cast of characters. You know Bruce Pearl can coach. I mean, you know that. I mean, it's proven.
Well,
been to a Final Four.
True.
With Auburn. The last Final Four that we had, he was there in 2019. So they're trying to find an identity, and by the time the Tigers play them on December 12th, both of those teams will be badly trying to kind of to cast which way the season goes.
I think that's right. Bruce is there. There's no question whether you like him as a person or not. Bruce is
a
heck of a coach. He got Tennessee to number 1. And he took Auburn to the Final Four, and they were great under his tutelage. His unique style of play and the way he would take a guy like Dane Bradshaw, play him out of position, and make him effective is amazing. So there is no question about that. He has a very young team, a team with very little expectations, to be totally honest. That is exactly why Auburn is gaming the NCAA when they have basically set their own punishment by taking themselves out of NCAA postseason competition this year.
They fired the first shot. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Well, they did that first shot in order to say, does that satisfy you?
And I don't think it's going to.
Well,
I think they get hammered.
I will see. We shall see if that is the case. But you're right. The Auburn-Memphis game will be interesting because the one that wins can salvage the year. The one that loses really has no other chance left for their resume except in conference competition. And, of course, there's more opportunities for Auburn than there is for the University of Memphis. And then the final First Bank text line question is, do we have any bowl projections yet? And the answer is we have a lot of speculation. Most of the folks still think Memphis is going to go to Birmingham. There's, I think it's Jerry Palm or somebody that has Memphis going to Tampa on December the 26th, the day after Christmas.
Gasparilla Bowl.
To take on Justin Fuente and Virginia Tech. That would be an interesting game. I think Mississippi State is the most likely scenario to play in Birmingham.
With most of them I've seen, State, Memphis, and Birmingham, but I did see one today had Ole Miss and Memphis and Birmingham.
I don't think so. I think Ole Miss is now with 4-4 And who knows if they play any other games? They could play two
Liberty
more.
Bowl bound.
They could play none. But and I spoke with Steve Earhart today. He does not know for sure, but a scenario which appears to be pretty likely, he says makes sense. He didn't say it was happening. He said it would make sense if it did, and that is Ole Miss and West Virginia. They haven't had West Virginia here in 7 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of speculation around that game, and anyway, it's going to be limited crowds regardless. I think about 2,000 tickets for each school and about 10 to 12,000 for local longtime supporters around the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. But it looks like it sure could change. You know, what if Ole Miss indeed played those last two games and won those and vaulted into either the game in Tampa, the Outback Bowl on New Year's Day, or the Gator Bowl even, or the bowl game in Orlando played on New Year's Day.
You know, here
still could happen. I don't have a great feeling about both of those happening.
No, here's my point. I don't necessarily know if winning or losing at this point even means that much to these decisions. I think geography will mean absolutely just as much, which is why
contracts.
Memphis could end up in Birmingham. There's not going to be all these activities. There's not going to be parades and lunches and fashion shows, things of that nature.
And rodeos.
So does that stuff really matter? You're going to come the day of the game, or not the day of the game, the day before the game, and so, you know, and for Memphis, you know, there are positives and negatives to everything. The positive is that it's easy to do Birmingham. You can take a bus down to Birmingham for the team, so it's really not going to cost you anything, and you can do that the day before the game, no big deal. But you've got to keep everybody on campus and a lot of extra practices, and I'm not sure the team or the school really wants that all the way into January. I think they would prefer, to be honest, pre-Christmas. I don't know if that will occur. The bad thing about the December 26th game is that means you got to spend Christmas Day or before in Tampa. And I'm not sure people are really all that crazy about doing that. So there's positives and negatives now to every scenario for the U of M. And that is an hour in the books. I'll let you know there was nothing but positive. In fact, raves about my commissary bird. First time I've ever done it, and it won't be the last, I can tell you that. In fact, Christmas time, I may do the bird again because it makes everybody happy. Everybody loves that turkey is perfect. Literally, you pick it up the day before, you put it in your refrigerator overnight, and then the next day, this is the bird, and only the way the commissary does it. You take it out, and you put a little water in the pan, and I got to tell you, Walker Taylor gave me this tip. I put about maybe 3/4 of a stick of butter into the cavity and some white wine. Oh, my gosh. Wrap it up. I went a little low because Walker Taylor said, do it at about 225 and do it longer than an hour. So I went almost 2 hours at 225. Perfect. Moist. Tasty. If you like smoke, that little tinge of smoke, but not overpowering. Oh, my goodness. What a thing. You got to do it for Christmas, folks, if you have not done that yet. In the meantime, stop by today. Walk in. It's safe, especially in Collierville where there's so much room. Get yourself, if you're tired of turkey ribs or shoulder tonight, you'll thank me later. The commissary, both Germantown and in Collierville. Great place to watch football, by the way. In Collierville, you got to love it. You really do. Monday Night Football, take the ribs home or eat there, you'll fall in love. That's both commissaries. They are Memphis institutions. That's 1 hour in the books. We'll talk more college football and college basketball with our friend David Cobb. He comes your way in just a minute.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. indoor and outdoor play areas, 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas in stock and hundreds more on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The Holidays at Home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in on a gorgeous day. A little chilly on this Monday, but it is November the 30th, last day of November. A weekend where the Egg Bowl was incredibly exciting. The Tigers used defense to win a football game. The offense on the basketball side was hard to find. And we are getting more and more news about COVID and cancellations or movement, postponements or better word. And now the word is the Ravens Steelers, which was moved from originally Thursday to
to Sunday.
Then to
Tuesday.
Then it was going to be Monday, then Tuesday. Now has been moved to Wednesday, if indeed they truly play the game. I hope they do. That is for sure. Lots of upsets in college basketball over the weekend, and we had a big firing in the region, and that is Derek Mason let go at Vanderbilt. And David Cobb from CBSSports.com, who writes college basketball and college football, joins us now. David, your thoughts about the Derek Mason firing and where Vandy goes next? And there's a few good names out there that I think would be absolutely ideal for that job.
Well, yeah, it wasn't shocking. I mean, the results have been pretty lackluster to this point. But I mean, my question about the Vanderbilt job is how committed are they to really winning? Because if you're a coach who's a young up-and-comer, a guy on the rise at a Group of Five program, how interested are you in Vanderbilt? Because the list of guys who've succeeded there is pretty short. It's called James Franklin, at least in modern times. So they might have to go a retread route. I mean, I don't know if Will Muschamp's up for his third job in the SEC East, but half joking. But in all reality, that job is such that they may have to get somebody who's more of a retread, I think, unless they just want to go kind of off the wall and go run the triple option or something like that. So I'd be interested to see how it shakes out. I'll be interested to see what caliber of candidate they can even really interview for that job.
What about Jeff Fisher? They say the Jeff Fisher camp's lobbying hard for it.
That's interesting because, I mean, I think his college experience is very limited. He's, as far as I know, all NFL in that background. So I don't know. But, I mean, if you want to invigorate the fan base and get Nashville on board with Vanderbilt, then sure. I think he's still pretty well beloved there. So I don't know how practical that is.
Is he really beloved there? I'm not sure the way it ended that he truly is. What about, speaking of beloved, the name McIntyre in Nashville, where there are still many family members of Mike's? What about him?
I mean, I don't know if that's going to get the fan base really that excited. And what has he done this year to really suggest that he's like deserving of that next big opportunity? I mean, I know obviously Saturday went pretty well, but I don't know. I don't know that one. I'm not sure that excites me very much. But seriously though, at this point, with where Vanderbilt's program is, unless they've just got a great sales pitch to make in terms of the facilities investment and things like that, it's going to be a tough sell. I mean, for crying out loud, when Florida went down there a couple weeks ago, they didn't even use the locker room. They just dressed like outside on the field, and then they didn't go to the locker room at halftime. They just huddled up amongst their position groups over on the side of the end zone where there's a little extra grass. There's no more telling indictment of a program's facilities than the fact that the visiting locker room isn't even usable. And so, I mean, I know part of that might have been due to COVID and Florida not wanting to get all their guys together in a close proximity. But, I mean, that image just speaks volumes about, to me, where Vanderbilt's football program is.
Do you think that was embarrassment that I hate to say this, but the more I see of Dan Mullen, the more I am convinced that he is sort of a drama king and actually likes to embarrass people. And, since I met him at Mississippi State, where he, I think, was an instigator of a lot of the hostility, I'm beginning to, believe me, I know he can coach, so I'm not putting down his coaching abilities. But as a person, the way he uses things to motivate, the way he was embarrassing in that thing, I'm starting to wonder a little bit about him. But do you think that he went the extra mile just sort of to embarrass Vandy?
It wouldn't shock me. I mean, but the truth is, it's a Vanderbilt problem. It's a problem at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's facilities and the investment in the program are just woefully inferior to the rest of the division. I mean, they really are. And that's harsh, but it's true. They have time and time again refused to commit financially to competing at the level that you need to invest to compete in the SEC. And that's part of the reason why Derek Mason got so long, is because they knew that they were giving him a raw deal, that they were not giving him the resources that he needed to compete. And so he got by with some 4-8 type of years. And obviously I think beating Tennessee a few times really helped him, because that really matters to them. But in all reality, he finished 27-55, and he was given as long as he was, because that's a program that does not invest the way that it should. And, in all reality, Derek Mason may be a fine football coach who could have been more successful as a head coach somewhere else, but he chose to make the jump to Vanderbilt, and it might end up being, the last time he gets a Power 5 head coaching opportunity. And I guarantee you there are other coordinators out there who might be approached about this job who are going to look at what happened to Derek Mason, and they're going to demand that the Vanderbilt administration show them something before they seriously consider taking that job.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough spot for any young coach or experienced coach like Coach McIntyre here at Memphis, who has proven himself at 2 coaching head stops at San Jose State and at Colorado. Both those tough as boot leather jobs in and of themselves. But David, you're right about Vandy. This is largely self-inflicted. I know they got burned by James Franklin, but they have now gone back to the 2 easiest preseason predictions in SEC. Bama first in the West, Vandy last in the East.
Yeah, it almost feels like all is right in the universe again to a certain degree, because Vanderbilt was so bad in the 90s, and that's just sort of what I came up expecting and thinking that they were. But Franklin showed that with the right, when you press the right buttons there, and you kind of catch lightning in a bottle with a couple of recruiting classes, that it's not impossible. It's very difficult, but perhaps it's not impossible if they can get a certain level of investment there to allow them to be successful. But, I mean, I think it's obvious if you're a name right now in the coaching carousel, you'd much rather be at South Carolina, even with some of the problems and the challenges of that job. I think it's a head and shoulders better gig, than the Vanderbilt gig. And the other thing, real quick, I think McIntyre would be a decent candidate for the job. But from what I saw today with the public remarks made by Vanderbilt's athletic director, she has stated that she might prefer an offensive candidate. And so I don't think that rules out, a hot defensive coordinator. But I think they want an offensive guy because they do have a good quarterback. Ken Seals, in spite of all the misery at Vanderbilt this season, Ken Seals has looked pretty good as a freshman without a whole lot of weapons and a whole lot of help.
Let's go.
So I think they can get an offensive guy in there, and you know what? Hey, maybe they go to a bowl game while Seals is the quarterback.
Let's go back to commitment and the facilities and the locker room that Mullen pointed out embarrassingly to the nation, basically. Is there a responsibility by the conference to put pressure on the Vanderbilt administration to invest more in the product, because they're clearly the weak link of this whole league? And I don't know if that would mean a percentage of their revenue stream not coming from the league, because to withhold it somehow, if they legally could do that, based on their lack of commitment or something of that nature. Is, in your mind, that something the conference should think about doing? And if so, what can they do? What should they do?
I don't know that the conference can do that right now. I think it would be a bad look to pressure a university into investing in athletics, during the financial times that we're in with COVID-19 and all that comes with it. But I could very realistically see, down the line, there being some sort of a mutual discussion, between the university and the league about, the Vanderbilt's future in the league. Because at some point, if men's basketball and football are going to be perpetually bad and at the same time, their competitive viability in the league is just, I don't think it's there. And Nashville is a market that the SEC has on lock regardless of whether Vanderbilt's in the league. And so I do start to wonder over time how important Vanderbilt really is to the Southeastern Conference. And, if this goes on for another decade and the Vanderbilt administration continues to de-invest in athletics, this is a university that disbanded its athletic communications department within the last year. That's unheard of. I know to a certain degree it's happened at Memphis during the pandemic and at other schools because of financial challenges, but Vanderbilt went down that road before the pandemic.
Right.
Or at least maybe it was the very early stages of it, and it was a total head scratcher and another indicator of just the lack of commitment there. And so I don't know that it's the league's place to make Vanderbilt get some things up to standard, but the Davidson County Health Code might need to go in there and check some things out for crying out loud. There's definitely just some issues there structurally. Facilities that over the long haul need to be addressed, and it'll be really telling, I think, the direction that they go with this football hire about whether or not they're actually serious about, getting this thing going again.
David, I'll tell you how new their sports information people are. A code to get on an elevator, you had to know the code, and the newer person in the sports information office didn't know it, and I remembered it from 2 years ago.
Of course you did.
Yeah, that's a very stats thing. That's why I think that's why you're called stats.
Yeah.
Hey, David, do this for me. Rank your top 4 quarterbacks in the SEC.
Okay, all right. Let me take Mac Jones. Then I'll go Kyle Trask. Then I'm going to go Matt Corral. Boy, I might have been tempted to go Kellen Mond, but not after the awful stat line he put up on Saturday. So who's my 4th? If I've got Jones, Trask, Corral, JT Daniels. JT Daniels is my 4th.
Wow.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I think Mac Jones is the best quarterback in SEC, but Trask and Jones, Bama and Florida, they got a lot to sort out in that SEC championship game. To the victor will go the spoils, maybe a Heisman and maybe a national championship.
All right, so how about this? I've been brainstorming this theory. I'm not bold enough to put it out there on Twitter yet, but I want to see what you guys think about it, all right? I've got a way that the SEC gets 3 teams into the playoff. All right, so
I'm with you.
Florida beats Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So Florida's definitely in. Alabama's in for sure. Their only one loss would be to Florida. And then I think if Notre Dame beats Clemson for a second time in the ACC championship game and knocks out Clemson, then Texas A&M, assuming they don't slip up here at the end, would also be a one-loss team whose only loss would be to Florida, who is the SEC champion. I think it could happen. I mean, the chances of it are slim, but I think it's a real possibility moving forward that the SEC could potentially get 3 teams in.
Huh. I'm
I
trying
think
to
it'd
remember.
be patently unfair to undefeated Cincinnati.
It would be. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Well, I mean, I'm not
assuming Notre Dame is your 4th.
But if you just looking at the playoff standings right now, I would love to see Cincinnati get a shot. I think it would be great for college football just to make it interesting again, because it sort of feels like we're going through something that's been preordained right now to a certain degree. But Texas A&M is number 5 in that ranking, and so if somebody were to fall out, they would be the team based off the way things have been ranked so far. That would be there to
I don't think they're that good.
They've got left at Auburn, right? And who else?
Well, I think they're supposed to play Tennessee, right?
Tennessee and Ole Miss, or as the original schedule, if it all gets played.
Well,
they have Auburn and Tennessee.
Auburn and Tennessee,
and
and
Ole Miss somewhere.
They lost. They lost. What's their loss? Florida,
Alabama.
That's right.
Well, yeah, Alabama. Right.
Alabama. They didn't play Florida. That's right.
They beat Florida.
They beat
Florida.
Oh, that's right. They beat Florida. That's right. That could happen. It would be a disservice, I think, to the Cincinnati program that would certainly have a legitimate, undefeated argument to make, but only
if they remain undefeated.
If they remain undefeated, that is true. I don't foresee them losing. I really don't. They'll probably play Tulsa twice the way things are going here, unless Tulsa loses to Navy, and then they would play Memphis again. And I don't see how in the world Memphis would beat them, because I think they're
You've
they're
also
better.
got to figure out what to do with Ohio State in that scenario. But given the issues that they've encountered, they may only play 6 games.
That's it.
So I don't know.
That is where I think they get taken out of this thing the same way Wisconsin has been taken sort of out of this thing. Of course, Northwestern helps.
Just
there.
not enough inventory, not enough games played.
Exactly. And the Pac-12's taken themselves out. So, it's really funny because I have in my overreaction that the SEC gets 3 in this year in the playoff. But it's pretty clear that it's down to 2 from the SEC and 2 from the ACC, and the other 3 Power 5s are going to end up getting shut out.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Pac-12 is absolutely done for. I mean, I still think there's a good chance that Ohio State gets in just because the committee is going to want Ohio State in due to the draw that their fan base provides and the eyes that will
TV
be on
draw.
the playoff. Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to, I think, try to find a way to get them in. But if they don't get a few more games in, it's going to be really hard to make that case. So,
How many?
The longer this year goes on.
How many games they have to get in?
Well, I mean, it's hard because I think what they actually ultimately may end up wanting, if you're Ohio State, is we already know Wisconsin's not going to be in the Big Ten championship game, but they're going to be in this game that's played the same day as the Big Ten championship game. What with the Big Ten doing all these cross division games that day, and so what might actually be best for Ohio State is for it to play Wisconsin, because if you're looking for a win that's going to impress the committee, beating Wisconsin is what you need, and so the only way that happens is if Ohio State has another game called off and is ineligible for the Big Ten title game, and then they end up playing Wisconsin that day anyway. I think that's kind of the ideal scenario.
Let me just say this. Here is what Ohio State has done this year. They beat a terrible Nebraska team, 52-17. They beat a 1-5 Penn State team, 38-25. They beat Rutgers, need I say more, 49-27. They beat Indiana, that's their one win, 42-35.
They gave up a big lead in that.
And they gave up a big lead. It was 42-35, and some people think that's why Indiana came back. And poor Indiana lost their quarterback today with an ACL. He's out for the rest of the year.
Dave, you're going in the direction that I'm almost there. Even if they do play their full complement, how good really are they?
Yeah, guess what that full complement is? It's Michigan State and Michigan. So if they're they're 6-0 with one win over Indiana, that looks good. What good is that?
I mean, you got to play.
It's going to be tough for them to make the case. I think ultimately, if they're undefeated, the committee's not going to shut them out. But to me, this year has just sort of pushed me, and I have no idea where you guys are on this, but this season has kind of pushed me more in the direction of thinking about a permanent expansion to 8 teams, which I know that's not the most original argument in the world, but it just feels like we're living in something that's been preordained with Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and then
it's WWE.
Yeah,
we know the outcome before it starts.
Yeah,
right.
I've been saying that for 3 years now, so I'm with you.
So
I'm for it. I just know it's not going to change until that contract runs out. They're not tearing that contract up midstream, and then Bill Hancock, the good soldier that he is, people get mad at him, and I know some really criticize Bill. Look, he's doing his job. He's supposed to advocate for. He's much like a commissioner. He has a constituency. It's the college football playoff poobahs, and he aims to please. He used to say there would never be this expanded playoffs. Then when he got to it, he's for it. When they go to 8, he'll be for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's what's best for the game, to be honest. People talk about, if we expand, we're going to devalue the regular season. Well, as things stand now, I think the regular season at this moment is devalued. I'm just thinking about myself. I mean, on a Saturday, I flipped it to college basketball for a good chunk of the day because there was nothing really that was all that interesting to me. I kept an eye on the Egg Bowl. Obviously, I was interested in some of the bigger games, but to me, to a certain degree, the drama and the intrigue has sort of been left behind this season. Not that it couldn't get really interesting down the stretch with what happens with Ohio State and whatnot, but I think it would make the regular season better because now there's more reason to watch what goes on in the last few weeks of the football season. If we're debating Georgia, getting in with 2 losses, Cincinnati getting in, BYU.
I agree. I think
it gives it value.
If you kept it to 8, you would really keep the integrity of the conference games to vie to get into the championship game because you got to be a champion to get in. So you'd get to 5 conference champions and 3 at large, and 2 at large because the 6th would be for the group of 5. I think that's clearly the fair way. So you're going to get a a Cincinnati or you're going to get a BYU. Well, BYU wouldn't be a conference champion, but if they joined a league, and that would be enough evidence for them to try to join a league. Or you would get somebody that's really good every year, and then you'd still get your two best after that. That would make for a great playoff, and it would enhance, not decrease, the viability of the regular season.
Yeah, you say it well. You pretty much nailed it. And then it just gives hope to a whole new class of teams. Right now the Georgia fans just think that the world has ended because they're sitting here with 2 losses and have no chance at making the playoff. Well, all of a sudden, that totally changes. In a team, that maybe gets in, if you're Georgia and you get that 8th spot, you've got JT Daniels now at quarterback. You could absolutely knock off a number 1 or a number 2 caliber team. And so I think the opportunity would be there for those games to be competitive as well. I think there are, in a given year, 10 to 12 teams who, deserve to at least have a shot at it. And this year, especially with the uneven schedules and just the mayhem that's been provided by COVID-19, it would have been nice to experiment with it and then sort of have a case study for moving forward on what works and what doesn't with an 18 format. And I hate that they didn't try to mess around with that a little bit, but here we are living in the Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State world, and just sort of trying to sort out the pieces on the periphery.
He's David Cobb. You read him at CBSSportsline.com. David, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk with you next week.
Thank you, Dave.
Next Monday.
All right, guys. Sounds good.
David Cobb.
You got it.
He is brought to you in part, and this, in fact, whole hour is presented by the good folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. So maybe this is the week that new SUV gets to town. Can't wait to see what they call the 2021 GV80. That's the Genesis SUV that some automotive industry publications have likened to a $300,000 luxury car. That's how good this new GV80 is. And this GV80, by the way, comes somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000, depending on the particular package that you get. And by the way, they're moving all these 2020s out to try to get the 2021s in. So there's a couple of G70s that you can get at a special price and 0% financing for 72 months. If you get on Lamar, get into Mississippi, turn left at the very first exit, Craft Road, you'll see Chris True, you'll see Vincent Garrard, he's the new man over the Genesis line, and you will love the way they do car business. For the majority of the team, they've been together 13 years. They've raised the bar. It starts with the warranties they give. Every new Hyundai, every new Genesis gets a 3-year, 36,000-mile package of maintenance for free, and everybody gets the unlimited powertrain warranty. Every new car. With these new Genesis cars, including the SUV, they will deliver it to your home. That's what makes it so special. And I can go on and on about the pre-owned cars, and the certified pre-owns, they're the best. The package is the best around the country, and the ones here, this is the number 1 certified pre-owned dealership in Memphis the last 12 years. Please go see what I'm talking about. See my friends at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a break. We're back in a minute. We'll talk more about the AAC and the SEC weekend. That's next on Sports Time.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetables,
tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Kick off your New Year's weekend at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Thursday, December 31st at 3 o'clock. Top teams from the SEC and Big 12 will be here. We'll be following all of the required health and safety guidelines to provide you the safest conditions possible. So wear your mask and join us at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. For tickets, call 795-7700 or go to Ticketmaster.com. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Kevin Harlan here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football, sponsored by Prilosec. Treat your frequent heartburn with Prilosec OTC. Ron Jaworski will join me in the booth to wrap up Week 12 when the Eagles host the Seattle Seahawks. Philadelphia had another disappointing game and loss last week, leaving them at 3-6-1. But they're still on the hunt for the NFC East title. Head coach Doug Peterson says every game is now a must-win.
You know, there's 6 football games left. We still have an opportunity in our division, but it's really going to challenge all of us moving forward.
Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are coming off a big win over the Cards Week 11 to give them a 7-3 record in the hotly contested NFC West. Join us on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buonasera.
Buonasera. How can I make the most of waiting for my next big vacation?
Translate your questions into goals by investing with Merrill Edge Self-Directed. It's more accessible than you think, with helpful planning tools plus free online stock and ETF trades, so you can keep practicing your pronunciation. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, member SIPC. Other fees may apply. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. This portion of the show brought to you by James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center, the men's store in all of Memphis. It starts with the Stant shirts and pants. That's the Stant custom fitting system, the only place you can get that system, which involves technology. It's 3 measurements and an algorithm that is fed into this supercomputer, and out, I promise you, comes the best fitting shirt or pair of pants that you have ever had. Better than custom-made suits where you get 20 different measurements. I promise you, these 3, 10 seconds, and a week later you got for $98 a new shirt. For $168 you got a pair of pants. It's amazing. It's affordable. and you can only get that at James Davis. Paul Batenley suits, still hot, still the same deal. Folks at James Davis Men's Store have kept this thing going for a couple of years. I mean, it's outstanding. These are the best-looking suits with the new material that just sort of breathes with you, makes you feel so comfortable. 2 for $7.95. You got to look good on Zoom calls, and you will look like $1 million with the Paul Batenley suits. And then there's sweaters and pullovers for eating outside. We're doing that. A little chilly tonight, but there's still plenty of time to go outside, sit on a deck or a patio, and wear a Peter Millar or a Johnny O sweater or pullover. You'll be just fine. All you got to do is go to James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. So there mentioned earlier the honors for both Quindell Johnson and Riley Patterson, Players of the Week, defense and special teams respectively for the football team. Boogie Ellis has been named to the AAC Weekly Honor Roll after leading Memphis in scoring over the 3 games last week. Give me your guys' take on Boogie, who, as Penny said, has never come off the bench in his life. He's done that now. I wonder if he'll continue to do that. Or would you, if you were Penny, and we'll find out on Wednesday when they play Arkansas State, would you play Boogie as the starter and put Alo on the bench? Or would you put Damian Baugh, who I think is a little bit more of a distributor first, then scorer, and put Alo on the bench? Or would you allow Alo another start to see if he can get being a distributor, a facilitator? Which way would you go?
Dave, it reminds me of when John Calipari finally just said Wesley Witherspoon not it at point guard and went with Tyreek, and the rest of that year went great. Ended up in a Sweet 16 out in Phoenix, I think, before a loss to Mizzou in the round of Sweet 16. But you either are or you're not a point guard. Can you make someone into one? Does Boogie Ellis, would it diminish the scoring? Would it break his confidence? Because I think the first thing at point guard, you got to be a facilitator. I think first and foremost, any great point guard, pass first, shoot second.
I agree. And I really thought that would be Alo, but it was very apparent in these first 3 games that he has struggled apparently with that.
I don't think you put Boogie Ellis at the point right now, and I'm still not 100% sold just of how bad he did play in a long stretch of last season. I'm still not 100% sold on Boogie Ellis, but if you're going to put him in the starting lineup, I think you put him at the 2. I think you take Lester Quinones out of the starting lineup, make him come off the bench just because the productivity just has not been there from Lester. Yes, he plays great defense, always going to hustle, but on the offensive side, you have to get some points, and he's just not giving you anything right now. So if you're gonna put Boogie in the start, I'd put him at the 2.
And you keep Alo in that position as the starter?
I think so, because out of the 3 options between him, Boogie, and Damian Baugh, Alo's really the only always looking to pass first guy.
See, I don't necessarily disagree with Lester, because I don't think Lester's 100%. I wouldn't really take him out, though, because he's the one guy that plays hard for all the time that he's in the game. And I know that he'll score eventually because he is a good offensive player. He did not show you that. But I think I'm to the point where I would give Damian Baugh a serious look at it. Now, he was a starter.
I would too.
For 25 games last year. And so you could say, well, that was his time. Give Alo the same kind of shot. And maybe that's fair. And maybe that's true. But it seems to me.
Yeah, I'm not worried about being fair at this point, though. Got to win ball games.
I think Damian Baugh is a really good player. And I think he needs to be in there a little bit more without having to worry about screwing up and out you go.
And I think it's the last position, especially in college basketball. I don't think you can do it by committee. I think you have to have a point guard.
I don't think at any level of basketball you can win without somebody who gets your offense into a flow. I really don't. I mean, even if you go back, you have to look
at that guy as the leader, as the quarterback.
Yeah, you can even go back to the Michael Jordan Bulls. Michael Jordan started the offense. Now, so a lot of times he finished it, and he was like a point forward. There's always somebody who's
he's pretty good at finishing.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
but he got other guys involved.
I don't think it's as bleak as a lot do around the Tigers. Now, those 2 losses with the limited non-conference games you're going to have, and I don't know how strong or not strong the AAC's going to be this year, but the Tigers cannot afford for Western Kentucky and Virginia Common to get into conference play and hit the skids and not be very good. They need both of them to take care of business in their respective conferences, or the RPI damage that last week could have already been done to the Tigers. Even if I'm right and we look up into the new year and the Tigers rip off these wins and they're 8-2, except for Auburn maybe getting some cred in the SEC, not a lot of that, and some of that's conference, but not a lot of that's going to gain you. I mean, beating Arkansas State and Central Arkansas, Central Arkansas, even if you beat them badly, other than some confidence for the here and now, what's it get you in the committee room come March?
I don't know. That to me is the sad part, that you lose the Ole Miss game. That would have been a nice try on your resume. And frankly, if you beat Auburn, that is nice. The one damage that you're going to lose when it comes to that committee, the damage that has been done, is the VCU game. Unless VCU goes crazy, and I don't think they're going to. They were picked 9th in their league. If you had been able to if you'd won that game, okay, you've already beaten a St. Mary's team, and St. Mary's will probably end up finishing 2nd in their league. They got some young guys. That kid Bourne's going to be really good.
Yeah.
That one would hold up. If you lose to Western Kentucky, that's probably okay. They're going to run away with CUSA.
Okay.
All right. This one is the one that you can't
what
get
What
back.
I say? I said Sun Belt. Yeah, CUSA.
Yeah.
You're right.
You lose this one to a team that is picked 9th in their league. That hurts. That is where damage was done. And unless you beat Auburn and Auburn finishes, nicely in the SEC, and I don't think that's going to happen. There's not something to undo the VCU loss. That's what hurts.
Now, Dave, I had one or two tell me that the prospects of maybe a reschedule on the fly with Ole Miss and the Tigers could happen. Are you getting any of that?
No, and I'll tell you why. When I redid the printout of my schedule today, I noticed that instead of postponed, the Ole Miss game on the schedule was written as canceled.
Okay,
So
well,
that is not
quite
a
a
good
difference
sign.
in the two.
Yeah,
that's like Largo and Fargo.
Yeah, that's even further than Largo and Fargo.
Let me give you some potential AAC news. The news breaking of the Georgia athletics director, Greg McGarity, retiring. He just wants to retire. I think 66. Longtime college administrator, was at Florida forever. Has done a good job at Georgia. I know for a fact that's one in the wheelhouse for Danny White at Central Florida.
Really?
Yes.
Well, obviously you couldn't blame anybody that would go take the job at Georgia. That's one of the better athletic departments in the country. That's a top 25 or 30 job.
He gets into Georgia. You look up, and you're chair of men's basketball, women's basketball committees. Your own college football playoff committee, probably chair of it. And we've been waiting to see which one he would go after. I think that would be one that he would be very interested in.
You would think that. Now, he's done a pretty good job at Central Florida, and you got everything you want to in Orlando.
Outstanding.
Honestly. But it's not
Power
nobody
5,
cracking
on you.
It's not Georgia, that's for sure.
It's not, but you don't have the cult of personality with your football coach and your men's basketball coach that you would have at Georgia. At UCF, I think the pecking order is probably Danny's I know he's at the top of the department, but he's not really in the shadow of either his football or basketball coach. At Georgia, he would be, because, pardon the pun, Kirby's lead dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, most of the time, the highest profile coach is the lead dog.
Football
of an athletic department. Well, I could say
ask Mitch Barnhart.
Ask exactly, or ask when John Calipari was here of R.C. Johnson how that one went. This portion of the show,
often wondered who worked for whom.
Is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group, and I can
it's
tell
like
you,
our marquee, Drew. You know what? It really is. It's like our marquee on this show.
Dave. Not quite that way.
I know who I work for. I know who I work for.
I can tell you.
I know who I work for because I heard somebody screaming in the hallway one day. Don't they know who they work for?
That was not me. Just to clarify.
No.
But we know who the head of the Eflin Insurance team is, and that is
yes, sir,
Matt Eflin. There is no question about that, and his team of professionals are there to they're there to help you. They're there to protect you, and they do it, I think, in a rather special, very unique way, but it's the way it should be done. They sit you down, and they talk to you, and then they find out what fits your needs and your budget. If that's, let's say, auto insurance or home insurance, they got 10 companies to find the perfect fit for you. Commercial insurance. Now, this is where they're, again, a little different. They do personal and business insurance, virtually unlimited access to programs to protect small and mid-sized businesses. And don't forget life insurance there. They've got quotes from 15 well-respected companies, so you're always going to get the perfect deal that fits your needs and your budget. And they got Grant, and they got Andrew, and they got Heath, and of course Matt Eflin and Brett Lender. They're all there to make sure everything goes right for you. It's one number, 901-386-4777. 386-GRR for Tigers. That's 386-4777, and they're big supporters of the Tigers. There to take your calls to make sure that you're protected on all the insurance fronts in the right way. The Eflin Insurance Team. We are back in a minute. We'll recap the weekend, college and pro, and all the overreactions that go with that. It's next on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacey and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our second hour, time to let you know who won the weekend and what the overreactions were. I'll start with the college football season. I think Ole Miss won the Egg Bowl. I think that rivalry won the weekend. It was a great game, decided on the very last possession of the game, the very last snap of the game, and I loved it that you still had intensity and focus and entertainment without all the hostility and garbage that you got with last year's game.
Yeah, we've had a lot of stuff for a while now, and I've had younger fans ask me, is this the most heated it's ever been? I don't know if it is. It's always been very heated. It's always been a lot of passion and a lot of rancor around it. I do know this, though. The last few years, it almost felt like you needed the state police and the National Guard nearby, and that's probably not a good thing, Dave.
No. What's your college football that won the weekend?
For me, and I'm no fan. I'm no hater either, and I know most people roll their eyes when they hear that about them because it usually strikes one way or the other about Notre Dame. I mostly like them. I think the more I say I don't like them, I think I really actually kind of do. I know I love that history, and I loved watching that game Friday against North Carolina. They fell behind early on the road. I know on the road this year doesn't have quite that zing that it normally had. And the announcers, Herbert Street and Fowler, said, can you imagine this place with this early North Carolina lead if you had, legit 65, 70,000 in that stadium on the campus at Chapel Hill? But I think Notre Dame's legit, and I think Notre Dame won the weekend. And I think it looks like Brian Kelly has decided I can't go recruit the SEC track meet speed type guys everywhere, but I can get me a big old brawny 2 tight end set, a blocking back, a tough middle linebacker, a tough D-line, a heady quarterback, and enough speed that I can kind of be a little bit different. And he's done it over a really now a long stretch. I give it to Notre Dame. Drew?
My winner of the week, not only did they win this week, but I think they're the winner of the year, and they've won the hearts of college football fans everywhere. Coastal Carolina with the win over Texas State, now 9-0. But the big reason why they're my winners of the week, College game day will be at Coastal Carolina this weekend against Liberty. Just what an incredible story from less than 5 years in FBS football.
That really is.
Y'all help me. Where is Coastal located? I don't know what town in South Carolina.
I know they're the Chanticleers, right? That's their nickname.
Yeah.
They
play Liberty. Liberty might get squeezed out of the bowl picture because they don't have any automatic. They don't have the contracts in all the bowls.
Right.
And our bowl here is doing it, or really adhering to existing contracts out of loyalty.
Yeah.
In a year, they can invite anybody, and Liberty could get frozen out.
Coastal Carolina is in Conway, South Carolina.
Conway, South Carolina, which I actually have absolutely no idea where that is. I am guessing
none.
It is on the
I'd
coast.
never heard of
it. I'm sure there's waterfront involved.
From the map, it looks to be about, 20 miles from Myrtle Beach.
Ooh.
Maybe less.
That sounds fantastic. I like that.
It
Now I
does.
like it even more. That they really are a wonderful story. There's no question about that.
NFL for who won the weekend, and I'm not playing to the hometown crowd. I'm not, and I'm wondering when, if his name will pop up, both potentially for college jobs and maybe for NFL jobs. But yesterday was a perfect 10. Arthur Smith had the Colts' heads on a swivel yesterday. And who won the weekend for me? Arthur Smith and the Tennessee Titans and the head coach, Mike Vrabel.
For me, it's the New England Patriots to knock off upset the upstart Cardinals and Kyler Murray. I did not see that one coming. Of course, there was a lot of things this weekend I did not see coming. But the Patriots, to me, are the team, and Bill Belichick, that won this weekend. Drew?
If they could get him, why wouldn't Vandy hire Arthur Smith?
Why would Arthur Smith take that job? He's going to be a head coach,
in the SEC.
He's going to be a head coach in the NFL.
You're probably right, and probably be a long-time NFL lifer. Drew?
I'm with you, Brett. I'm going to stay with, I think Tennessee won the week, especially the way that they were able to turn around less than 2 weeks after losing kind of embarrassingly at home against the Colts 2 weeks ago, turn around and beat them in Indianapolis in the fashion that they did.
Now, that was incredible what Derrick Henry did. I'm amazed that none of us mentioned the running back from Buffalo, Patterson. What is it, Jeb Patterson, I think it is, who had 8 rushing touchdowns, which tied the record. And,
what a game they had
and
against
over
Kent State.
400 yards, second most rushing yards ever in the history of college football. And we didn't
college
bring him
football.
up.
College football overreaction for me. Ohio State won't make the college football playoff for this reason. They're not that good.
Well, they haven't played anybody, so I can understand that. My college football overreaction was the SEC will get 3 teams into the college football playoff.
Florida ain't beating Bama. That is overreaction. Drew, quickly.
My overreaction, Coach O's best day at LSU are behind him. It was a flash to the pan with Joe Burrow. He'll be looking for a new job in 3 years because what he had against A&M was just pitiful.
I don't think that's overreaction. I think with the allegations around LSU, Coach O might not be the head coach on opening day of 2021. My NFL overreaction, again, people, this is extreme overreaction. We really don't believe what we're saying. This is extreme overreaction. Antonio Gibson and Tony Pollard both will rush for more yards in their NFL career than D'Angelo Williams did.
I don't think that's an overreaction with Gibson. I'll be honest with you.
8,096 yards to top D'Angelo.
He's got a ways to go, but he's going to have a chance. They don't have that many running backs at Washington that I see are going to upseed him at this moment. My overreaction, forget Tua Tagovailoa. Forget him. You got Fitzmagic. He won again. Put him in, you're going to win.
My overreaction, Tyreek Hill's going to finish as the best wide receiver of all time. He's by far better than Jerry Rice ever was.
Wow. Well, I'd say this. If he, what do you have, 200 rushing, passing, receiving yards?
265.
But he had
206 in the one quarter.
In the first quarter.
Dave, there was a time yesterday I thought Norm Van Brocklin's 554 was going down for Patrick Mahomes.
I did too. Patrick Mahomes is just something else. He really is. It just keeps doing its thing. Never loses his cool. Running for the first down and knowing slide and stay in bounds. I mean, every little detail and facet, the dude is just on the money. And that is 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we'll talk more college basketball. Blake Lovell, Blue Ribbon Magazine. We chat with him in just a minute. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Spirit Shop. You're out now. I know you're out. You had a great weekend. You had Thanksgiving. You got stocked up, probably had some family over. Hopefully you were socially distanced out in the yard, and you had friends, and you guys got by a fire pit like I did actually one night, and you enjoyed the spirits from the Spirit Shop. It's the place to go because of the service, because of the variety, because they'll educate you about wine or tequila or bourbon or even rum. Eddie Connor and his family, they've been there since 1969. Family-owned, family-operated. They do it the right way, and they'll do anything. They'll go the extra mile to make sure you get what you want. If that's an obscure wine from a winery in Washington, if it's legal to bring in, he'll do it for you. He works with you all the way, and so conveniently located right there at Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, right down from Clark Tower. It's the little log cabin you've passed forever. There's a lot of product in there, accessories, beer, you name it. If it's got to do with spirits, it's at the Spirit Shop. Go see for yourself. Tell them we sent you. Back in a minute with hour number 3.
The holidays are just around the corner. Have you heard what James Gaddis Jewelers is doing? Everything. James Gaddis has everything for your family, friends, and loved ones. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold and silver, and more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, diamonds, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces. So many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. And with the experts at James Gaddis, pick out the most dazzling and beautiful diamond, bridal, and engagement rings. Plus, 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. You can find everything to fit your style and budget with layaway and financing available. James Gaddis, a Memphis tradition, local and family owned. Whatever your holiday dream, make it come true at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar.
Be sure to listen for the Memphis Sports Fact, brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers each Monday and Friday on Sports 56 middays.
All 75 months at 2.99. Mirage LHO 10130 MSRP 16565. G4 LHF 12318 MSRP 17435. Outlander LZ 038819 MSRP 381. Outlander PEV qualifies for a 5,836 federal tax credit. Consult your tax advisor. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax filing license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2020. Dealer stock only.
The 2020 year-end sales event is on at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage. Buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 43 MPG Highway. A Mirage you can't miss with 2020 G4. 41 MPG Highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. Plus, crossover with 4x4 off-road capabilities with 74 MPG. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid EV, $27,838 or $359 per month. And 10 years of confidence with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
When you visit Navy Liquor at 7866 Highway 51 in Millington, you'll be treated like family by friendly, knowledgeable staff. Select are your favorite bourbon, vodka, scotch, beer, tequila, gin, and rum, as well as wines from all over the world. An amazing selection of sakis, too. Coldest beer in town. Beer kegs are available. Any beer, any wine, any liquor. You got the Navy Liquor hookup. Come see us, holiday or any other occasion. Navy Liquor, corner of Highway 51 and Navy Road in Millington.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike, and we're gonna blow you away with what you save. 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive IAHS top safety pick. We Gossett at $20,736 or $259 a month. Or power up your game in a 2020 Dodge Charger, $24,320 or $299 a month.
month. And get rammed off in a 2020 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2. $29,656 or $396 a month. And 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x2. $29,878 or $398 a month. Drive past the rest. Come to the best. Gossett, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Fiat, 1901 Covington Pike. Online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler, 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.11 APR. Renegade, LPM 02132, MSRP 26,580. Charger, LH 167,053, MSRP 31,490. Tradesman, LG 293,29, MSRP 37,855. Cherokee, LC 403,192, MSRP 35,495. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2020 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Monday Night Football tonight. If you're watching the game, you see another ad for FanDuel Sportsbook, and you think to yourself, is that legal here in Tennessee? You bet it is. FanDuel Sportsbook, now legal in Tennessee. A lot of fun action on the Monday Night Football game. All the college basketball, NBA coming in about 3 weeks. You can place your first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free and get up to $1,000 back if you don't win. Seriously, there's no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep your money. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in bonus site credit, so you can take another shot at the end zone on the house tonight. What about Russell Wilson going all the way from Seattle to Philly tonight? Better quarterback play there. Use your risk-free bet on that. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, generous risk-free bets are just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, and exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. And once you win on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet. You get your money fast. Odds boosts and specials, range of betting options. To claim your risk-free bet, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know that we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine to talk college basketball with us after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's the great people down at 5704 Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales. Go online and check out the many happy referrals and look at all the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. All the cars test-driven, checked out bumper to bumper, thorough examination from head to toe, from bumper to bumper. Unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts taken, kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they care about your time, want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time matters. That's why they'll get you in and get you out of there in 45 minutes. It's that simple. At DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
It's always a pleasure to talk college basketball. We do that every week in this time slot with our friend from Blue Ribbon Magazine. That would be Blake Lovell, who joins us now. First question for you, Blake. Which was the bigger win, the most surprising upset for you? The Dons of San Francisco knocking off Virginia, or the Spiders of Richmond knocking off the Kentucky Wildcats? Good afternoon.
Yeah, good to talk to you guys. I think it's pretty easy for me. I think it was the Dons getting the win over Virginia there because I didn't really think that Richmond beating Kentucky was necessarily a huge surprise. Maybe a surprise to some people, but I think when you look at the experience of Richmond and, in Blue Ribbon, we had them. I think we had them ranked 22nd in the preseason heading into the year. And yeah, I mean, I just think experience. We talked about it last week, didn't we? I just think the teams that have the experience early in the season are going to be ones that you see that have an opportunity to really do some things. And we saw that there against Kentucky, and I just think this is a Kentucky team that's still got some ways to go. They've obviously got a lot of talent, but this is another reason why, I think a team like Tennessee could wind up being better than Kentucky just because I think they have more experience. And, when you see Richmond do what they did, it's not that surprising to me. And so I think the Dons, doing what they did against Virginia, maybe the more surprising of the duo.
Who has the most staying power? San Francisco toward the end of the year or Richmond?
Yeah, I think it's Richmond. I think this is a team that, we think about it. Again, when you have so many older guys, and I know they had the one guy, Nick Sherrod. I think he's out the year with the injury, but that I think when that happened, a lot of people thought, well, this is going to be a situation where Richmond maybe falls down a little bit in terms of maybe not being a team that could win the A-10. But I just don't think that's the case. I think you look at them now, and we saw they played against Kentucky. They're just a team that they have that experience. I think we saw them kind of go back to last year to see some things kind of brewing with them, and it's a good team. And so I think that they're one that if they wind up winning multiple games in the NCAA tournament, I don't think anybody should be surprised. We've already seen it with Kentucky here, and I just wouldn't be shocked if this team at the end of the year has got maybe 25 plus wins. So,
what do you think this says about Tony Bennett? And I say that I know he got his national championship. He's still defending it, in fact, because we had nothing last year. But that came a year after he was the number one seed and lost to a 16. So he, in essence, lost to the worst team in the tournament. And now here he is losing to a team, San Francisco, that we haven't really heard of since Bill Russell played there pretty much. I mean, how does this happen on a fairly regular basis to Tony Bennett? I think he's a great coach. He's won a national title. His teams are top 10 almost every year. But this happens like once a year.
Yeah, and I'm one of those too that I cannot in any way argue against the success he's had, because you just look at the number of wins, you look at, like you said, they're the reigning national champions as of right now. But at the same time, I think the system it is what it is, and I think there are times where when you're at your best, there are very few teams that are going to be able to beat you. But when it's not clicking on all cylinders, it's the type of system, I think, that opens yourself up to getting beat. And, obviously you could say that about a lot of different philosophies for different coaches around the country, but I don't know. It's just one, and, I've seen people argue, is it because you have less possession, because you're playing, at a slower tempo? If another team is able to kind of capitalize, be more efficient, and you don't have those possessions necessarily to make up for it, if you're struggling and you're a team that does try to play that type of style and at that tempo that Virginia does, if you don't have those extra possessions to make up for it, is that something to where you're just going to have games like this sometimes? And, of course, we talk about the UMBC game and just all the others maybe that we've seen. And I don't know there's necessarily been a ton of these games we've had, but, as you said, we're seeing maybe more of these now here in recent history. And I do wonder if that's just something where let's compare a Virginia to a team like Alabama, where obviously Alabama's not competing for the national championship right now, but Nate Oates is someone that has this style where they just have so many possessions because they're getting up and down the floor so quickly that sometimes maybe if there are deficiencies you can make up for because you have those added possessions. And I don't know, that's stuff I've seen people debate. Basketball analytics people have debated that. And I do find it interesting just in terms of looking at a team like Virginia and saying, man, sometimes if you don't have those possessions and you're struggling, it can come back to bite you a little bit.
Blake, your thoughts, your assessment on the tournament itself in Sioux Falls, the eventual champion. I don't think that surprised anybody who the champ was. The Tigers had a good win over St. Mary's and then a tough loss to Western Kentucky and a not-so-good loss on Friday night to Virginia Common. How much will that Virginia Common, even if the Tigers go on a run and get things worked out like I think, and many think that they will, how crippling at bid time will that loss to VCU be?
Yeah, that's going to be one that is going to be interesting because I think, if you look at VCU, it's a team that, it's kind of one of those where I think coming into the season, obviously we talked about the VCU teams in the past and, we've kind of felt pretty good about maybe where they were going to be. But this is just one of those teams that I think we've had a lot more questions about than we've had in recent years with VCU. And so I do think, obviously it's a win that caught some people off guard, especially the way that they did it because of how they were able to win that game. And I think it is one, when you look at it, The A-10, I mean, it's a conference, and I kind of think back. I mean, you and I, Brett, we were texting earlier talking about Davidson and teams like that, and we just talked about Richmond and St. Louis and Dayton. Is VCU going to wind up being one of those teams that's right there near the top of the A-10? I think going into the season we didn't think so, but now, I mean, could they? They very well could, but I still think it's one that you probably look back on and say, man. Just like with Virginia and San Francisco, you're going to look back and say those are the types of games you wish you could have back, because I just think that's a game Memphis should have probably found a way to win, but they just didn't. And now, you put yourself in a position where we know if we're playing less games and we have less opportunities, in the non-conference to build that resume, that's definitely a game you look back on and say we feel like we should have had an opportunity to get one like that. And then, of course, to start the season 1 and 2 is obviously not the way you want to start it. More than likely, I mean, based on where everything's at. But you certainly got to make the most of these games that you do have remaining here in the non-con.
Where do you think they have to finish in the American? Provided, let's say they beat Auburn. Okay, that's on a neutral in Atlanta. If they beat Auburn, where can they finish in the American and still get in?
Yeah, that's another good question, because I think American, when I look at some of these conferences, I think that one's really hard to figure out. And I think obviously with everything that's sort of happened with Wichita State, that was probably a team anyways we thought was going to kind of finish maybe in the middle of the pack in the conference, but obviously you're never going to count them out. I think Cincinnati's one of those teams that's kind of in that same spot where it's like, I think most people probably would have picked them 5th or 6th maybe entering the season, but if Cincinnati winds up being a team that outperforms expectations, you're not going to be surprised either. But I mean, to be safe, I think if you're Memphis, you got to finish in the top 3. Like, I feel like that's the best way you're going to feel safe about maybe having that opportunity, because, you're going to be battling, with those teams. Like, I think everyone has, high expectations for SMU, and obviously, Houston's the favorite to win this thing. But then you talk about SMU, you talk about Cincinnati, teams like Tulsa, who I know has started 0-2, not exactly had a great start, but they have played TCU and South Carolina. Those are 2 teams that aren't bad and hope to at least maybe to be in the NCAA tournament conversation. But, I think anything outside the top 3, you're probably not feeling great about it. But, it is probably, too, just the strength of your overall win is going to matter as well.
Blake, I know you were with us. We're glad we love sports. This is why we're in it. It's everything to us. And I said earlier, maybe the most normal thing since the abnormality of shutting down college basketball and no Final Four, no March Madness, no one shining moment. That was a stunner back in March. That hurt to see that happen in no Final Four in April. But to see it wall to wall since last Wednesday, boy, it's been good to have college basketball back. And I've watched a bunch. And my biggest college basketball takeaway, and I want yours, Gonzaga as advertised. They are a powerhouse.
Yeah, they are. They're scary good. I mean, they're just I don't know. And I thought it was interesting. We talk a lot of SEC and stuff and where we are, and Andrew Nemhard was someone I was very interested to see kind of how he would fit into that group, and maybe what the expectations would be for him, being on that team. And while you look at his stats or anything that jump off the page in these first 2 games, but I just think he's going to help kind of add another dimension to them as well, and I think that just adds to the layers. And certainly they already have. I mean, you look at that freshman group, Jalen Suggs, I mean, he's just fantastic. You look at the rest of this roster, and we knew just even with these guys they have coming back that have this experience, and then you bring in these new guys, like we said, it's just you're blending everything you want, I think, if you're Mark Few. You've got a team that offensively – you're going to find very few teams that are able to kind of stop this team. And really, what's interesting, guys, is we're probably going to see this week. They're going to play. My guess, they're going to play the 2 best defensive teams they're going to play all season this week, and that's going to be West Virginia and Baylor. And I think those 2 games on the schedule are going to be interesting because if you go out and Baylor, who I'll tell you, just for me personally, I thought Baylor would be they would have been my pick for preseason number 1. But my goodness, looking at the Zags, there's no way I can kind of flip that now unless Baylor gets this win. But overall, I mean, I don't know how you stop this team, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how teams defend them, and I think we'll get a better idea of that. With 2 teams like West Virginia and Baylor this week, because those are 2 teams that in a tournament type setting. Once we get to March or whenever the tournament's played, those are the two kind of teams historically that could give a team like this some problems. But will they be able to do it? I don't know, just because this team they're just so dang good.
That'll be fun to watch. There's no question about that. What was your take on the way college basketball was able to be played? And Brett mentioned all the places. We had Sioux Falls, and we had the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and we had one in Florida. What's your take on how successful they might have been?
Yeah, I think it's gone kind of as expected in terms of we knew there was going to be some mixing and matching. We knew there were going to be teams that would be paused. And as we said, there are teams out there that still have not been able to start their season and won't start their season for another week or two maybe. So I don't think it's really gone any different than we expected because we knew there were going to be some teams, that would ultimately wind up being in situations where, hey, one day we think we're going to be playing here, and the next day all of a sudden we're going here, and we're going to put on all this. It was just going to always be part of the process, and I think that's something the coaches knew, even with their frustrations with scheduling. They knew at least there were options out there that they could work with to try to figure some things out. If in the event that games got canceled, delayed, whatever, they knew there were options they could work with. And I think we've seen, for the most part, we've seen teams be able to do that by flip around their schedules and go different places, and just be able to kind of mix and match at some of these, events and have teams come in and play and all that. So I think it's been something where, maybe even another week, we kind of see what the effects are. And I think once we get to conference play, I think that'll be something that's really kind of fascinating to me because, conferences, I think for the most part, have found a way to sort of be able to mix in some of these dates that they can work with. And then eventually, as the season goes along, you shift your schedule some more. I think you have more options in conference play, but really thus far, I think we've seen teams handle the non-conference portion pretty well in terms of just mixing and matching what they've had to do.
Well, the other thing is that I'll be very curious to watch is that we have not had a cancellation yet or a positive case yet from any team that played in any of these conference tournaments. So that's
so
the
far,
thing to
so
watch,
good.
right?
Lucky.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is we knew too there, and I think that's kind of what we talked about, guys, was we would probably have a better idea of what this is going to look like. Maybe not yet as of now, but probably at the end of this week or maybe early next week. I feel like we're going to have a better picture of, okay, you're playing these events, you have all these teams in the same spot. When you come out of it, if you get a positive test, what does that mean for the other 4 teams or 7 teams or whatever? I think that's going to be something that certainly that they'll have their eye on too.
Yeah, the 2-week thing, and we kind of can scoff it. We've heard 2 weeks a lot, but it is real in the transmission world. And Blake, and Dave, you know this as well. I think a lot of college basketball administrators were ready to get to Thanksgiving. By and large, most places get all the students off campus and then go quasi bubble.
Yep. Now that's what they want to do, and I think it was pretty clear early on that was going to be, and you heard it talked about so much, and it made sense. Like that was going to be the best option to try to at least manage some of this and play as many games as you could. And we thought there were people talking about just the golden window and all that. Like that's what you just got to be able to get those games in because again, it's something where we know kind of what the NCAA has laid out in terms of what the criteria is. You have to play a certain amount of games to be able to play in the NCAA tournament. And so I think every team knowing that, again, as we said, guys, like their teams haven't played yet. There are teams local to us, Tennessee, Ole Miss, like they're waiting and waiting and waiting. Right. But they know they've got to get these games in. And so
Florida,
I think it's going to be trying to play them. Yeah.
And, and who can know until you get on the floor and see what you got. Look at Memphis. Who would have thought? I honestly thought they would end up 2-1. They end up 1-2, but it certainly wasn't the way. VCU replaced Wichita State, for goodness sake, because they got there and they couldn't play. So
and a good team in Northern Iowa went 0-3.
Yeah, I was shocked at that. I really was. I think St. Mary's will be a resume okay win for the U of M when it is all said and done. But these early, with young teams, these early tournaments can show you your flaws, and I think Memphis found that out. But as we all said, a lot of basketball still to be played. Blake, thank you, my friend. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Blake. Stay safe.
You got it, guys. Same to you. Thanks.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
We'll talk to you next week. That is Blake Lovell, brought to you in part by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and, of course, Genesis of Olive Branch. The SUV is coming, I promise you. The 2021 GV80. That's the car we've all been waiting for about a year and a half or 2 years. It's finally going to make it here, I think, by the end of the week. Of course, they told me that last week, and I started to wonder, is there really a Genesis SUV? But there is. In fact, it's been written up by industry publications that compare it to a $300,000 luxury car. This is going to run you between $50,000 and $70,000, depending on the package that you want to get. It's going to be worth it, I can tell you. These G cars are amazing. I had a G70. It was the best car I've ever had in terms of handling and performance and speed. And you can get a G70 right now as they try to move the 2020s out to bring way for the 2021s. You can get one now with a special price and 0% financing for 72 months. Now, I am told on some G70s, 2021s, there's going to be a 60-month option on 0% financing. They are making it more and more affordable for you to have luxury like a Genesis. All you got to do is go see Vince Gerard. Just get on Lamar. It's Highway 78 in Mississippi, and the very first exit is Craft Road. Turn left. And you know, every Hyundai and every Genesis car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And the service, now, any new Hyundai, any new Genesis, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package for free. They want to take care of it for you. They take care of everybody. Just please go see for yourself. Get down there and see what I'm talking about, how they've raised the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We'll come back. We'll recap this football forecast that we all made. Whew, man. What was the old thing that they used to do, Leonard's Losers, where you had to pick the loser? I actually got confused this week. I just want you to know. I thought we were doing Leonard's Losers this week.
Well, you did well then.
So I really ended up 9-3, just so you know, because I thought it was Leonard's Losers. We're back with that.
You went 3-4 in college, and so far 1-5 in the NFL.
Yeah. Oh, 3-4. I missed one. Okay, 3-4.
No, you got your 2 points on your college football shot. Remember, I gave you 2 different shots at it.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So really,
I'm not going to cheat you.
Really, what I was 9-4. Then.
Well, if he gets 2 shots in college football, the Denver game should not be counted against me.
Drew did get rocked.
Drew Lock was starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Did he play?
No, he didn't play.
That's a shame.
Poor Drew had to
all
take the Broncos plus 6.5.
That happens all the time. They had no quarterbacks
That's
at
a tough
all.
loss.
Boy, that kid
nothing.
They bring that kid in. He was a wide receiver at Wake. I mean, I watched
the NFL.
Oh my god!
NFL punished some people this weekend. They punished the Broncos. That was intentional.
These guys, they've got 50. How many guys they got on their roster with the scout team?
53.
They're supposed to be deep enough.
Well, more than that with the scout.
These are the pros.
But
sorry.
Get John Elway in there.
Do something. That's for sure. That was really, really. I thought the Bears were the most embarrassing, but the Denver predicament was right in the ballpark.
No, the Bears were.
Back in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
You have opinions?
I think they got a lot of athletic ability.
We want to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Call us on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255 or text us on the First Bank text line at 67129.
Brian Smith, we love the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis.
Thanks, Stats. The fall months are always the best time to shop for both new and pre-owned cars. We're right in the middle of model year end change. The 2020s have got to go to make room for the new 2021 models, and we continue to trade for the best pre-owned cars in the city, all makes and models.
Service is one of y'all's hallmarks.
Our award-winning service department is adhering to all socially distanced safety precautions.
You can experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com.
Jim Gray from Westwood One here with a Monday Night Football preview sponsored by Prilosec. Treat your frequent heartburn with Prilosec OTC. NFC action coming up from Philadelphia when Carson Wentz and the Eagles host Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Philadelphia is still alive in the NFC race in spite of a 3-6-1 record. Meanwhile, Pete Carroll's Seahawks at 7-3 have a narrow lead in the tough NFC West race thanks to a big win last week over the Cardinals.
We're getting well here, and we're going to get better, and we're going to be stronger, and we're going to be better for it. It's a big win playing in the division, and to come out of it first place, that's a good deal for us, and we're fired up about it.
Kevin Harlan and Ron Jaworski will call the action when the Eagles host the Seahawks on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you are in need of quality jeans, shirts, and boots, think Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Frontier has thousands of square feet of merchandise at everyday low prices. Tons of jeans by Carhartt, Wrangler, and Ariat. Whether you're after classic denim jeans, dungarees, or work pants, you'll find it among Frontier's amazing selection of stylish, modern fits. Flame-retardant jeans and shirts now available as well. Colder weather is on the way, and Frontier is prepared with overalls, coats, and fleece jackets. Hundreds of jackets and coats in stock by Ariat. Inventory may be scarce this year, so come in today to grab yours while it's in stock. Don't forget the boots. Frontier boasts dozens and dozens of styles of boots. Work, dress, or play, come try on all the latest boot trends, as well as proven classics, Ariat, Durango, Dan Post, and many, many more. You are guaranteed to find your next favorite pair at Frontier. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or shop online 24/7 at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, LE 242,174, MSRP 20,505, sold, M7755, 682, MSRP 20,315, K5, MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, K900, MSRP 65,610, L60 26,907, L60 21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes textile and license with approved credit offer valid through 11/30/2020, dealer stock only, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty, see Kia.com or retailer for details.
It's time for the Kia Holiday Sales Event and time to command the season in your new ride from Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. 2020 Kia Forte, just $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, only $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, only $189 a month lease. And they're all 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. And don't miss the 2020 Kia K900. We got it at $10,000 off MSRP. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
This story just breaking from Brett McMurphy. The Sun Bowl has been canceled. Tied as the second longest running bowl game behind only the Rose Bowl. The Sun Bowl has been played, it's hard to believe, 86 consecutive years. Since 1935, it is the fourth Pac-12 bowl cancellation this year, and it's the third with an ACC tie-in. So all those ACC teams, you were mentioning Liberty earlier, Brett, all those ACC teams would go before Liberty, you would think, in their pecking order. And so that makes it even
this
tougher.
isn't the last of the cancellations.
No.
There's going to be more.
Wow, that is tough. The Sun Bowl El Paso has really been rocked. They really have.
Legend, it has. I mean, it's almost. I mean, they're almost nobody's allowed in or allowed out.
Yeah. No, I agree. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, the famous tune-up. And, right now with that tune-up, you will get a heating system checkup. So for $69 what John always does. He comes out and he will tune up your system inside. He takes the filter out. There's 16 different points that he makes sure completely are in harmony so that your system is efficient, and that makes your system, by the way, last longer. I think you should do it twice a year. Once right before summer starts so your air conditioning system is efficient, and then in the winter. And the other part about winter is you want to test the system's safetiness, particularly carbon monoxide leaks. Well, John throws that in this year for nothing. $69, you get the tune-up, and he will come back in after he's cleaned your outside unit, and he will check your carbon monoxide for leaks. He takes a little camera that goes through to check the entire system. You can't beat it. All you got to do is make a call. 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Monday Night Football tonight. Seattle, a 5.5-point favorite in Philly. Carson Wentz versus Russell Wilson. Mismatch there. Decided mismatch in the head coaches. Dave, I'm taking Seattle and laying the 5.5 points. And how about this nugget from earlier today? Golly, I was supposed to have that closer to me to have ready at this time. The old West Coast to East Coast thing.
Yeah.
Our friend. Oh, darn it. Where is it? Alan Bell. Alan Bell at CBS Sportsline in Nashville, he sent out over the last 25 seasons, since 1996, teams in the Pacific time zone playing on the road in the Eastern time zone. Mm-hmm. That fits. Something only you and I know.
In other words, you're going you're going to a third time zone. You're
there you go.
Uh-huh.
On Monday Night Football, 13-0 against the spread. Since 1996.
They win?
Something only you and I and Alan Bell know. Yes,
wait.
13-0.
So
against the spread. I don't know if they won outright, but they covered the point spread.
Okay. That's almost hard to believe because you would think it would be the opposite.
Because it's very incongruent to all that travel.
Yeah.
So give me Seattle.
You know what? Before you even gave me all that information trying to confuse me, I'd already picked Seattle.
I'm not trying to confuse you. Drew?
Easy. I'm taking Seattle as well.
Group lock.
The dreaded group lock show sweep.
Dave, you can switch.
3 of those.
No, I don't believe in Philly.
We had one in the pros that we lost, Kansas City. The half point got us.
I know it.
And we had 2 in college. We got there. Everybody got there with Iowa State on Friday, and that was a good game, Iowa State and Texas. And then we had the group lock laying the 9.5 on Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They won by 7, not by 9.5. So we're 10-20 on the year on group locks. We'll get to our top 4 quarterbacks in Seattle and Philadelphia history. I think we all will have one of those playing tonight. But I want to tell you about All-Star Chevrolet. It's that time of year to get down to Olive Branch and get that new All-Star Chevy Silverado or Tahoe or one of the perfect new Suburbans. Here's the deal. People ask All-Star, give everybody what they want for the holidays. Give us the present we want, and they are doing it. These will go fast. Come out this week if you can. All-Star Chevy with more new Silverados, 2020s, 2021s, lots of new third-row seating, Traverse, and you can still get thousands in cash back. And if you want pre-owned, Olive Branch is the place to be. All-Star Chevy certified pre-owned Chevys. They're the best selection anywhere. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah. It's not South Haven. It's not Collierville. It's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch. Everyone at All-Star with one job. Make sure you have more fun, get the best deal on what you want, and do it in record time this holiday season. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch or online at allstarautogroup.com.
All right, so let's start with Philadelphia. And
this was hard.
Well, yeah, it was. I think there's 4 guys that you could find.
Sonny Jurgensen.
No.
Norman Snead.
But my number 4 is built along the lines of Sonny Jurgensen. That's
Roman Gabriel.
Ron Jaworski.
You got Jaws number 4?
I do, because with
I
Dick
got Jaws
Vermeil,
2.
With Dick Vermeil, Jaws took that team, changed their culture, got them to a Super Bowl. I got
You know what he told?
We'll go.
You know what he told me at a Super Bowl one time about that Super Bowl?
What
he
Jaws
is
did?
yet to watch. Jaws told me he's
didn't play
never
well.
watched the replay.
He stunk.
Never
That's why.
watched the tape.
Yeah.
He did. Jaws stunk.
He did. He really did.
Jaws has a great Super Bowl party that I've never made the cut to.
Oh,
Our buddy Carter Blackburn does it, and really beats me up with it. He said, "Hey, going to Jaws' party tonight? Are you going?" No, I didn't get invited, Carter.
I can't believe he would do
He's, I'll try to get you on the list next year.
I got to put number 3, Randall Cunningham, because he's the way Jaws changed the culture. Cunningham was one of those first guys that would throw and run instead of just a guy staying in the pocket, or like
How'd they
Fran
not win more
Tarkenton
with him?
used to scramble around to throw. He would do both. I got, believe it or not, because he got him a Super Bowl, I got Nick Foles, who stunk with the Bears, but I got him number 2. And then Donovan.
Wow.
Donovan Mitchell.
You've got Mitch Foles, number 2?
I do. And I got Donovan Mitchell, who is the winningest.
Donovan McNabb.
Yeah. I mean, Donovan McNabb.
Yeah. We knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Donovan McNabb.
You put
and
the
he
Mitchell
played here in
thing in
AutoZone
there.
Liberty Bowl at Syracuse.
You sure did.
Yeah. I got McNabb 1. I have Jaws 2, Randall Cunningham 3, and he did. He won him a Super Bowl, and he was MVP of it. Nick Foles is number 4.
So at least he's in your top 4. Drew?
1, I've got McNabb. I got Randall Cunningham at 2, Jaws 3, and Nick Foles at 4.
Okay.
Super Bowl's worth a lot, isn't it?
It really is.
And an MVP of it.
Yeah, no question.
Threw a touchdown, called a touchdown.
Yeah.
On the Philly special.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun. That was the last time Philly had any fun, I think. They haven't been very good since then.
Seattle, it's easy number 1, isn't it?
Well, it's really funny. I looked at about 3 or 4 lists, and there were some that have not put Russell Wilson on their list. Now, what are
they watching?
You know what you call, if you trade or invest in commodities, it's called futures, right? And there is no question the present and the future belong to what I rated as their number 1 quarterback, Russell Wilson.
Dave, in Chicago, have you ever been to the Chicago Board of Trade?
Oh, yeah, I have been. But,
you have?
But
Wow.
I'd
like to see it in action.
The place that was the most spectacular made the Board of Trade look tame. No longer is in existence. The floor at what they called the Mercantile Exchange, the Merc.
Oh, I bet. I bet. In the old days,
was the craziest. That made Wall Street look tame. The Merc trading of the commodities, the futures at the Merc.
Contact sport, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, people seriously, they used to go in and they would be shoving their little cards and notes, and they had the tags that they would write down and buy it at a price, and they would literally shove people around to try to do it.
Like in trading places.
Well, exactly. And I will tell you.
It was the Dukes.
I had my best friend in high school and moved with me to Steamboat, another Steamboat story.
Oh, man.
He said that if you lost your voice, you could not work. That you part of you had to be you had to be very aggressive. You had to have a loud voice to yell, and you sometimes had to be physical to make your deal. Seriously, this was not for the faint of heart. But Russell Wilson was the future guy for me. I got Jim Zorn too. I got Dave Craig, who's got the second best, I think, to Zorn of all the throwing stats. I've got him 3rd. I put Matt Hasselbeck in there 4. Warren Moon was really good for them, too. If we had a 5th, he would have been
It was just so brief, though.
It was only 2 years.
It wasn't many years.
He was old. He was already like in his 40s when he played for them.
Yeah, just legendary player too, and just those wasted years in
Canada.
It's all he could do. It was in Canada because of the NFL.
Well, he and 3 guys that really, because of their stature, really got sort of the raw end of the deal, and that was Doug Flutie, who had to go to Canada, obviously Warren Moon, and Joe Theismann. Yeah.
Dave, I always thought there was a place in the NFL for Tom Clements from Notre Dame in his best years were in Canada. Arguably Condredge Holloway. Arguably Condredge.
Yeah, no question about Tom
Think about Condredge Holloway now. You know he'd play in the NFL and be something. I mean, it'd be Russell Wilson.
Tommy Clements was an unbelievable athlete. You know that he played
great player.
He played basketball for Notre Dame too. He actually went to high school.
I didn't know that.
In Pittsburgh with a good friend of mine, with Catholic school, and there wasn't any sport he couldn't play. My friend used to play ball with him. And
he put on a show against Alabama down in New Orleans.
I thought for sure he could have played it. He would have played in today's NFL.
Number 1 for me, Russell Wilson. 2, Dave Craig, who I think is the all-time leading fumbler in NFL history as well, but a great quarterback. 3, Matt Hasselbeck. 4, Jim Zorn. Drew?
I've, of course, got Russell Wilson at 1. I've got Matt Hasselbeck at 2, Dave Craig 3, Jim Zorn to round out my top 4.
There you go.
Okay.
Pretty good quarterbacks. All told, in Seattle.
In Seattle.
When,
Rick Myra was the big bust.
Yeah, he was. I thought Rick Myra was going to be great. I really did.
Oh, on these airways. But when it came down between Bledsoe or Myra to the Patriots, you got to take the guy at Notre Dame. He's seen better defenses than the guy at Washington State. I missed on that, Dave.
But tonight's game, I get the feeling Russell Wilson's just going to eat up Philly. I think this game is this 17 point. This is going to look a little like the way the Bears and the Packers did last night. I have to ask you this question. This is probably very catty of me, but does Aaron Rodgers seem like the most joyless superstar that there is?
Great take. It does not. It looks like, and you hear people say, do they love playing or do they love getting paid? And I think he just kind of likes playing, and I think he loves getting paid.
Well, he is incredible at reading a defense and exploiting the weakness. I mean, he has killed the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
He has been the most. You can throw Favre in there. I don't care. Nobody has killed the Bears like Aaron Rodgers have, and this is the oldest running.
That's true.
Rivalry in the history of the NFL. Nobody has, but I have never seen a guy. And maybe it's just because it's intense focus. But this dude never ever smiles, even when they make a big play.
Ever.
He just seems like
It looks like it's just work to him.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
It's like he's in pain half the time. He bugs the heck out of me. But that's sour grapes coming from me because he absolutely destroyed the Bears. I mean, every third down conversion, boom. You knew he was going to make it. And I don't think they punted until midway through third quarter. They didn't punt. They didn't punt in the first half. Unbelievable. Just total destruction. Matt Nagy, I can't imagine he will make it through. I mean, I don't think they'll fire him midseason the way Detroit did. But I can't see him being the Bears head coach next year. I just can't. We'll see. We have to take another timeout. I'll let you know. This portion of the show is brought to you by Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spedsdorf, who promised his clients he'd advertise their homes on the show. So here you go, 115 Palisade near the U of M. And you know that thing is under contract. 1106 Oak Ridge, that's near Dixon Gallery. That's under contract, and it went fast. In Germantown, 2 listings, one on Willowbrook, the other Old Pike Drive. Both, of course, are under contract. So I asked Sheldon, why don't you advertise homes that aren't sold? And he said, well, using his highly successful strategic marketing program, they just sell too quickly. He also said there's a thing called the P's: preparation, presentation, proper pricing. Those are the keys to any successful sale, and it's why people say when you want the job done, you call Sheldon. He says, now look, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure he's one of them. You can reach Sheldon simply 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Again, that's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Sheldon will get it done. We are back to get this show done. That crunch time will come your way next.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas in stock and hundreds more on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The holidays at home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
Looking for a new ride to celebrate the end of 2020? We Gossett at Gossett Kia's holiday sales event. Command the season and you'll find what you want, need, and love at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2020 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, $189 per month lease. All 36 months, $3149 due at signing. And don't miss 2020 Kia K900. We Gossett at $10,000 off MSRP. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. All 36 month leases, $3149 due at signing. 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee. Forte LE 242,174, MSRP 20,505. Sold M7755 682, MSRP 20,315. K5 MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725. K900 MSRP 65,610. L60 26,907. L60 21,220. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax on license with approved credit offer valid through 11/30/2020. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, sports fans, this is Ultimate Vegas Insider John Anthony, and I'm on fire. To prove it, I'm releasing you Monday Night Report absolutely free on the recorded message line. Call 1-800-814-9317. I love tonight's matchup. Seattle-Philly, it's a monster. Side and total. Critical information confirmed tonight, plus college hoops. 5 big plays, John Anthony has you covered. I love to go 5-0, and it's absolutely free. Recorded message, 1-800-814-9317. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. Seattle-Philly is huge. 1-800-814-9317. If you want information, I've got it. I love to go 5-0 or the season free. Call the recorded message line, 1-800-814-9317. That's 1-800-814-9317. Or go to VegasScoresAndOdds.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Final portion of our Monday show is brought to you by Supercuts. All 15 of the locally owned Supercuts by the Czech family, by the way, are open. All are very, very conscious of social spacing, of sanitization. In fact, this is nationwide, all the Supercuts. They all reopened with a thing they called the Safe Salon Commitment. That was developed in partnership with top infectious disease doctors. And what it does is it maximizes safety and all the sanitization and the products they use and the way they do it in all of the salons, including all 15. So they are absolutely safe to get that haircut. Even now, as things start to cut back a little bit, Supercuts is ready for you. Go to supercuts.com. You'll learn more about the Safe Salon Commitment, and that way you can make your appointment at any of the 15 Memphis area Supercuts. It's time for Crunch Time.
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins.
Boop. You.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over. On one, on two, on three. Hey.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today and already expressed it, Dave. Mac Jones in Bama and Kyle Trask in Florida. They are on a collision course with the stakes being as high as they can be in college football. It'll be for everything. What'd you learn, Dave?
Learned today, just a little bit ago, that the NFL is following the lead of the NBA and trying to cash in on the Christmas holiday. They have set up for Saturday, December 26th, day after Christmas, a triple header. Tampa at Detroit, San Francisco at Arizona, and Miami at Las Vegas. And we are learning today, you'll like this, Drew, running back J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram will both now be eligible for the Wednesday game against the Steelers. However, they're still down a dozen players, including quarterback Lamar Jackson. You can pretty much bet that the Steelers will win that game.
NFL also with the Christmas Day game this year on that Friday, the 25th. Could have done without these big-time college basketball coaches like Cal and Boeheim that control everything. They could have gotten out of these games if they didn't want to play them. Then they lose or narrowly escape with a win like Boeheim. And Boeheim complained all weekend, and the Bryant coach teed it up with him. Took on the Hall of Famer. I was glad he did. What is it you could have done
You know
without?
what? That bugs the heck out of me. Jim Boeheim.
Big baby.
He is the biggest
Big crybaby.
hypocrite out there.
He sure is.
He truly
Disgraceful
is.
look.
And it was. And I'm with you. I'm glad that guy just said, wait a second here. You're wrong. I could have done without losing Connor Adair. Apparently the former backup Memphis quarterback who played in the game against Stephen F. Austin but only played one series. Well, he's gone. He was not on the team with on the trip to Navy. I don't know if he is permanently off the team. I actually had to double-check the roster to see who the next quarterback would be. It's a guy named Brown, wearing number 12, a young man from, I think he's from Louisiana. Peter Parrish is not eligible to play this year. If we had seen Brady White go down, this guy would have been in there. And or there would have been strictly a wildcat with somebody. So
I'm going to need you to knock on wood real quick.
I am knocking on
Yeah.
it. Up on my head, too. Go ahead.
Knock on that noggin. Keep a close eye tonight on Monday Night Football. Also, all the college basketball games. Maui Classic in Asheville, North Carolina.
Isn't that
Boy,
weird?
It's going to be a great 30 for 30 someday, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, the schedule release. And, Drew, what did the cool kids say? That when the schedule drops, we could get NBA Christmas Day games. We could start seeing the trickle out of those. Let's keep an eye out for that.
That would not shock me at all. That is turning out to be big business. Can you believe, literally, we are 3 weeks away from the NBA regular season starting?
Let's go.
I mean, we just finished in the bubble, didn't we? We just named the Lakers the champions.
A great 30 for 30. It might be a 90 for 90.
Oh, man, it really is crazy. I swear. It's nuts. But
When we look back.
It's going to happen, that is for sure. We got to thank David Cobb and Blake Lovell on college athletics today. Tomorrow, big show. Gabe Kuhn will join us at 3:30. Brent Beard, Jeff Moore, Bo Marchant, and we'll get Ron Tillery's take about what is coming up on the NBA. That'll do it for us. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have digested all that turkey over the weekend and all the leftovers. We'll be right back here tomorrow. We'll see you then. Have a great night, everyone.
What's up, Memphis? This is former Memphis kicker Steven Gostkowski. I know you've heard of Platinum Jewelers by now. You've heard from former Grizzly Mike Miller and my man D'Angelo Williams tell you about them. Now take it from me, a two-time Super Bowl champ. Platinum Jewelers is the best in the business. When it's time for jewelry, make sure you give Platinum Jewelers a look before you buy.
Platinum Jewelers has a brand new location in Germantown at 9387 Poplar Avenue. Visit them or at 545 Perkins Extended in East Memphis or online at platinumjewelers.com.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas in stock and hundreds more on order. Now's your time to